Hey guys, this is Chris Dawson.
And this is Russell Dilday here at Cowhorse Full Contact.
We got Mark Michaels from Performance Horse Central backing us up with the electronics board and all the technological side of this thing. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode.
Okay.
My wife doesn't like it when I curse, but she's really got to where she's been cursing more than me lately. I've rubbed off on her, and she's improved me, and I've weakened her.
That is noticeable.
Oh no.
Yeah, she has lived there so long in that world that she has slipped a little.
Yeah, I
think that it's because you're around a language so long and a way of expressing yourself, and then when you're frustrated,
it's like French immersion
that's what
school.
You lean to.
It's like French immersion school.
So it's not just that he cusses; it's that he's frustrating.
Brings it out in her.
Right, like she can't avoid it.
Yep, just surrounded by it 24/7.
And then there's the expression. You gotta be a little bit.
I can definitely tell she's rubbed off on him though.
Yeah.
Like when I first got around Chris, he was really rough around the edge.
He was rough right down the middle.
Oh,
smoke, drink, ride.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what else is there? A couple other things.
Red dirt.
Yes.
Red dirt music.
Yes, a lot of that. Yeah, well, when I met EJ was whipping our tail, but his owners wouldn't enter him in the open.
Sweet.
Like, I won the first event I wouldn't have won if EJ had been entered. Like, he was only entered in the limited, and they kept doing it.
Oh, for
like
2 or 3 years they did. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
you remember it?
Yes, I
Do you still have horses for them?
do. Nope, I don't. I do not.
I mean, God love him for helping a guy get
They
started.
fired him because he could never win an open check.
No, they were great. They sure helped me get my foot in the door, and very grateful. But no, they were very cautious about what kind of classes I could enter. They didn't have faith. No faith.
Well, here we are. We're 2.5 minutes in, and this is a Cowhorse Full Contact. I'm Chris Dawson. I'm here with Russell Dilday. I don't know, we got Mark out in the world of tech somewhere, and today we're joined by the incomparable, illustrious, South African, EJ Laubscher. What's up, buddy?
Just enjoying the AC.
This is our foreigner outreach program.
African American, yep.
For the millions of viewers that can't see this because it's audio, he is way whiter than me. He's like, you're tanning up a little bit.
I am. The Oklahoma sun does that too.
Yeah, EJ's the whitest guy in the room right now.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm tan too. I can't see me from here.
You're pretty tan.
Yes, you are.
Little too much sun.
But yeah, so EJ's been out here. For those of you that don't know who EJ Laubscher is, EJ is a heck of a horse trainer. Just moved to Paul's Valley, Wynnewood, Oklahoma. Bought a place from Russell. Sweet place at El Dorado?
Yep.
Rancho El Dorado. It's outstanding. It's a neat place. It is the home of where we did the Todd Crawford podcast, actually.
And the Casey
Carson. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right there in the viewing stand.
All three podcasts.
All three Todd Crawfords. Yeah, that was our first 5-hour plus podcast was Todd Crawford.
Wow. That hurt.
Yeah. There was multiple breaks in that one. Unlike the Bergen one. People have been talking about the Bergen one this week. Dude, I'm like, there was no breaks. We never got out of the chairs. 6 hours. One cocktail, 6 hours. No, I couldn't walk when I stood up. I mean, we never moved. Like, I didn't know I could go 6 hours.
You went around the building once.
Did I? Okay, yeah, all right.
It was imperative.
Did you have him drugged to sit still that long?
No, well, tied up.
Oh.
Tied up. But yeah, EJ, he's kind of been coming up here, and like I say, he's moved to Oklahoma, and he is, man, a fantastic horse trainer. And his things look great. He is always rolling in here. He's the guy that'll roll in on a paint horse and be like, who's that guy? And then he'll whip your butt. And you can't pronounce his last name. What's Laubscher? Is that right?
Yep. Well, it can be pronounced either way. The correct way is Laubscher, like a
Laubscher.
horse loping. Yes.
Laubscher.
But
There you
spelled
go.
Laubscher.
There you go. Well, that's good to know.
Yep.
See?
But
EJ
it doesn't matter at this point. It's
it's-
everything from Brady Weaver calls me eating lobster, and it's been called just about everything in the book.
Well, it's a spelling.
Yes. No, and I don't blame anybody. I still screw it up.
A little bit closer. You gotta act like you like it.
A little uncomfortable.
There
with
you go.
this
There you
right
go.
here.
You get used to it. After a while, you just start resting on it.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yes,
guys
let-
should see my face, not just the microphone.
No,
Nobody
there's
can
no
see
video.
anything other than the video.
He means us.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why we got big mics. Makes you look better.
There. That's better.
Yeah. So it's LAUBSCHER.
UBSCHER.
Oh, there's not even a B in it.
There is LAUBSCHER.
Right.
B for Bob.
Got it. You got it. Correct.
So what's the EJ
Glad
stand
I
for?
straightened that out.
So that's actually my legal name, just EJ. I don't have a middle name, anything like that. It's my grandpa's initials. And I guess there was a coin flip. I have a cousin same age, and he got the actual names, and I got the initials. And I'm glad I didn't, because that's even a bigger mouthful.
How long is that one?
What
So
was-
EJ stands for Ever Hardest Johannes.
Holy
So it would have been really a mouthful.
wowzers. That's a whole top of the page in school. Put your name on here.
I was the
a
first in
paragraph.
kindergarten and can write my name, but the last one to give my last name. So
Yeah, that's a $20 handle right there.
Everlast,
Ever
No.
Hardest
ever hardest
Johannes.
Thank
Johannes.
God you didn't have to grow up with that.
And so they just shorted up to Evert. Is
Oh.
what it eventually goes to.
Where is that? Where was your grandpa from?
German.
Oh,
That's not what he was from, but that's where his descendants
came from.
originally. Yep.
So he was native in South Africa.
Yeah, I think we were the 4th or 5th generation.
Oh, that's way back.
Yeah.
That's late 1700s.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. My history's probably not as... I can't remember my history as well as I should, but the Dutch was the first to settle the country
Yep.
back right at the beginning of the 18th century, I think.
Yeah, I read that. Michener's the Covenant. That was Africa. That wasn't South Africa so much, I don't think. But
Yeah, don't
it was
give me-
brutal.
Yes.
I mean,
They showed up and...
it
just
was
got-
you're just out there. The country's hard. Everything's hard.
Yes.
It's pretty fascinating. And you made it through it.
Well, no, by the time I was
Your
born,
gene-
things
your
were a
genes-
little easier.
Your gene line made it through it.
Yes, my gene line did.
Yeah, all I know about South Africa is they have rubles. Those
No,
rubles?
rand.
Oh, see, I don't even
See,
know that.
you don't know
I don't know
nothing
nothing
about it,
Oh,
clearly.
what I know about South Africa, I learned
It's
on
not
Lethal
north.
Weapon 2 and Shark Week. That's what I know about South Africa.
Both good to watch.
But I do know some South African words that you taught me. That,
Yes, and I don't know. I can't remember if they're okay to say on here.
Well, nobody's going to understand it, so it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hear
Someone
it.
will.
Trek your cope, ek your hare,
Perfect.
and your blexum.
Perfect. Yeah. The
Boom.
first one is pull your head out of your.
Oh, appropriate.
Yep. And then the other one, blixum, is just kind of a slang for your you butt. I don't know if I'm not allowed to say. Yes, there you go.
So, did he say, why do you keep telling me that? And
Well,
so
we were
then you
in
told him what it
McCook,
meant.
Nebraska someday, I think is where it was. And,
I wanted to learn a little Afrikaan.
yeah, he just asked me, he came out of the pen and asked me, hey, teach me a couple of words, and that's what we came up
That's
with.
when you were talking to him. That was the first thing
Yeah,
that came
pull
to your
your head
mind. What happened to brilliant or spectacular, superstar or something? Jeez.
I prefer handsome and confident.
My pronouns are handsome and confident.
That's how it doesn't matter if I am. That's how I identify. Don't tell me I can't be.
I am who I say I am.
So take us back to South Africa. Like I say, we don't know anything about it.
Oh, I had a great childhood. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It was a unique way to grow up, great country. So obviously my whole family there, when we were living back there, aunts, uncles, grandparents, we lived in a little town, probably the size about Wynnewood. I would say the population of that little town was no more than maybe 400. It was just a rural community, very down to earth, a lot of farming. And so I was lucky enough to be born there and then lived not too far from one of the biggest dressage trainers and breeders in the country. And that's kind of how I got into it at the age of 7.
What was the main income in that town?
Oh, in
farming,
that town,
or
farming, totally farming, yes.
What did they farm?
Oh, everything from corn, milo, wheat.
Is it, what's the rainfall like?
Oh, I would
or?
say it's probably comparable to where we're at now there in Wynnewood. I would say it's probably around that in the 20s, 20 inches something. So they had a good rainfall, not outrageous where we were. We were considered one of the drier parts of South Africa. But we were right in the middle of South Africa too. So we were as far from the coast as you could get there.
So how close was the nearest big town?
Oh, so Pretoria and Johannesburg, which is considered kind of the two big cities in South Africa, were about 2 hours north of us. And that's where most of our family lived, was there in Pretoria.
Were both your parents from South Africa?
Yep, both of them were born and raised there. My mom kind of lived all over some of the northern African countries. She kind of grew up a little feral. Her dad somehow worked for a lot of military contractors, and I'm trying to remember how all this, but she grew up in the Caprivi, and golly, I'm not quite sure what African, I want to say maybe that's Botswana or something like that's what the country was called, and that's where she was kind of raised. And they
What's a Caprivi?
It's kind of what that region was called.
Oh.
And she grew up with actual pet lions and things like that. So she was as far away from civilization growing up, and that's why I said she might have grown up a little feral.
What was the town that you were from?
Grootvlei, which is... Let me see you type
Try that one. Try that one on. Spell that one on.
So Groot.
No, hold on. How about... Wait a minute. I'll find one I can say. Edinburgh. How far were you from Edinburgh?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I actually do not recognize that name.
That's not in South Africa.
Okay, let's see.
I went south of Johannesburg and was looking for a town I could say.
There you go. So we're over here by Kroonstad. Now we're getting close. Let me just zoom in a little bit more. N3. That's kind of the main highway. You guys have to remember, this has been 20 years, longer than that. 2002 is when I came over.
21. It's not that much longer.
There you go. Vereniging would be a town you would know.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There you are.
What'd you call that?
Vereniging.
There you go.
And see, the language, my first language is Afrikaans, which is
There's not
Dutch
even
language.
an F in there.
It's a V. But we're talking,
that's-
now we're in
that's-
the middle and
that's-
nowhere.
That's German influence, and the
Yeah.
V sounds like an F.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, so it's a Dutch origin is where the language originated from.
So your grandpa on your mom's side
Yes.
worked for the military or contracted?
Yeah, so he grew up in a concentration camp pretty much. During the war, him and his parents got separated at concentration camps and never saw him again. I can't remember exactly how long he lived in these concentration camps. And then I think he was 7 years old when they got separated. And then once they got released from these camps, he just kind of had to fend for himself and lived on his own from there on out. Ended up getting into construction and stuff like that as an older.
Who was running the camp?
Oh, it was back during the World War II.
So the Nazis?
Yes, the Nazis kind of put a lot of those people. I believe he was in Tanzania at the time when they gathered all those folks up and put them in concentration camps.
And did the Nazis have South Africa?
No, this is north of South Africa, Tanzania. And again, my geography's not that great, but it's a couple of countries up North Africa. Just look up Tanzania.
He's trying.
Yeah. North and
Yes.
east. Out on the coast.
And so
South
he
of
got
Nairobi.
raised in the. So when did he get out of it?
And I couldn't even tell you that.
Don't
I'm
know.
sorry.
So
Russell.
then where does he go?
So
You
then
know?
he just, I guess, started working for whoever needed to put him to work. And again, I don't know what age he was at, but I know at a young man, he started doing his own construction and then somehow got contracted with the military and met my grandma, she was, I think, quite a bit younger, maybe 10, 15 years younger than my grandpa. And they moved wherever the military needed him. But when my mom was a young girl, she was raised, like I said, around the Caprivi. It's an area there in Africa. And she didn't, I think, come to South Africa until about that high school, 17, 18. And that's where my dad met my mom. It's in college.
What did her family do?
My mom's?
Mom's. That's your grandma, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
what did your grandma's family do?
That I don't know. I don't know really much about her history, where she came from or anything like that. She was a pretty quiet woman.
So then how'd your mom meet your dad?
College.
Oh.
So she moved down to Pretoria. He was an agronomist or going to school to go be an agronomist, and they met there.
So did the family still have lions? Like, would he went home and had to get
No,
approval
actually,
from the
no.
family
Like
lion?
that all happened when she was still up in the Caprivi. I just got to see pictures of the lions pulling her around by her hair and stuff like that.
Jeez.
They had some Polaroids and stuff like that I got to see. I would love to see if I could get a hold of those again. But with the move and stuff, I'm sure a lot of
So
that
what,
stuff.
they just caught him?
I don't know
little
if
and
they got
raised them,
shot.
or-
Maybe the lions got shot. They had some cubs on them, and then they took them home.
'em?
I think is what it was. And they ended up donating them to the Pretoria Zoo. Is where they ended up.
Were they of any use, or were they just
No, it's
to
just
have?
kind of cool to have as a pet, I guess.
Guard lions. Nobody coming in your house.
Dragging the kids around for fun. What are they going to do to you? So were they so far out there they were hunting their own food, or?
Yeah, it sounds like, again, visiting with my grandpa and my mom about it, it was kind of, you had to do a lot of hunting to feed yourself. So they would actually go shoot elephants and then feed that whole camp with the meat and stuff like that.
Oh, the whole army camp.
Yes, and wherever they were, and even the natives that lived around there would take the meat.
So what was the military doing?
And again, you're asking me questions I can't answer. I listened to the stories as a kid. My grandpa died when I was fairly young, but that's kind of what I remember him telling us. So I don't even know what they were doing there.
Huh.
I know there was like a lot of guerrilla warfare with Angola and things like that going on. I don't know if it was tied.
They
in
were
with that.
active.
Yes.
I mean, they weren't just
No,
hanging out?
there was an actual war going on, but there's always a war up
Always.
north.
And so your parents sent your feral mother to college.
Yes.
And what did she ever tell you about that change?
No, not really.
Just another day.
She's still still till today. She is a tough lady that I would not mess with.
Remember
grew
last
up
time
rough.
she knocked you out?
18. I was 18 years old.
I told you.
I just remember waking up, my 2 younger brothers standing above me, laughing at me.
Don't talk back.
Don't say no to her.
You didn't even get the whole N-O.
I don't think so. My body language was enough. And she's not a big lady. Like I don't know, probably at least a foot shorter than I am. Barely 5 foot.
Just reached up there and got a hold.
Yep, just hit me right where it hurts.
Right from the bottom up under that chin.
Oh, just went ahead and balled her up and
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
nice.
uppercut.
Surely you didn't think you got slapped unconscious. That'd be embarrassing.
No, I don't think I've ever seen her hit with an open fist.
Open
It's
hand.
always a closed fist.
Something to remember in child rearing.
No, but we were unruly. We needed it.
So how many brothers did you have?
2 younger brothers, so my mom's going straight to heaven.
Express lane.
Because they were bad.
Yeah, we were all really unruly. No, if it wasn't for having to spank us, I don't think she could have controlled us.
Yeah. I remember that part.
Yeah.
Well, I used to think my dad was mean. Now I don't know how he held it all in.
He had a lot of self-control.
Not sure how I'd survive.
Or why.
Seemed like they could have made a better one easier.
Should have had more
Trying
spankings.
to salvage this one.
What did your dad's family do?
So they farmed a citrus farm at a different part of South Africa. They called it the Lowveld. And they had big banana plantations and
Oh, really?
avocado plantations and stuff like that. So he grew up farming.
So wetter down where he came from?
So the weather is, trying to think of a region here that would be probably more Florida-like. Kind of, you could grow oranges, things like that.
Is it very much elevation?
Yeah, no, so that country is such a unique country and a beautiful country. You go anywhere, you have your desert region, you got your mountain region, and then obviously your coastlines and stuff like that. So I would always recommend people going on vacation. They'll treat you like a king down there. You got first world amenities there in a third world country, and they really do treat you well.
So then what did they do once they met in college? When they got married?
So my dad's family was still farming there with the banana plantation. And I believe my mom's parents, they all moved and did their construction right there in Pretoria. And that's where they met there in that big city. And then once my dad graduated, they got married and then moved to Grootvlei, where I was born and raised. I want to still hear you guys say that.
No,
name.
I want you to say it one more time.
Grootvlei.
Grootvlei.
There you go. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, I'm not.
Let's hear it. Come on.
No.
You're the voice.
Yeah, you're actually pretty good at stuff like that.
No, I can't. I can't do that. That tongue rolling thing, I can't do.
Here, want to
GR.
borrow my tooth?
Maybe.
It's his
my
retainer.
palate.
It's his retainer. It's making it sound good.
Hurritley.
Grootvlei.
Hurritley.
That's not bad.
Grootvlei.
Groot.
See, yeah. Is there a YouTube thing? Is there a place on YouTube you can learn how to roll your tongue?
Oh, I'm sure.
Not like that, idiot. God. Roll your R's, excuse me.
So they moved down to Grootvlei. My dad started his own company down there, and he, like I said, was an agronomist, so he sold all the farmers the chemicals and fertilizer and stuff like that they needed, and that's what I grew up doing, helping with that. And
So did he have to deliver it? And
yeah, so everything from delivering it, helping him, tell him what to put on, what stage to put it on. Like, he was just their advisor at that point.
And hooked up with one company?
His own company. He started his own.
Oh, so he had to do did he wholesale buy the
Yes.
product and then
sold it to all the
sell
farmers.
it?
Yes.
Oh,
But then again,
the
like I
risk.
said, then he goes and go look at their fields and telling them, okay, put this much of your Roundup or whatever they ended up putting on.
so he didn't work for Roundup selling the chemical. He just found what was best, bought it, and sold it.
Yes.
That's quite a bit.
Yes. No, it was quite a business he had going. And then times got tough in Africa or South Africa, and then ended up farmers couldn't pay and stuff and lost his business, and
Oh,
then started up kind of working for himself again and started a trucking company.
oh man.
Kind of a jack of all trades.
So how were you old enough to drive?
No, I was pretty young when so I think he lost his chemical company when I was roughly around probably that 9 or 10.
Oh.
So not quite old enough.
Did
to
you
drive yet.
guys have to move when he lost the chemical country and start the trucking, or
Nope,
do it right
stayed
there?
there in Kruitflay. We stayed in the same school and all that. And then he had this trucking company for a few years, and then actually went back and worked for another company as an agronomist for several years after that. I want to say probably at the trucking company for only 3 or 4 years.
Did he sell it or just?
Now the truck. I want to know about this trucking company in South Africa. I mean, you know about trucking here and how big a deal, but we got all these interstates and everything else. What's the road systems and everything like there? Because in a lot of those smaller countries, I mean,
Yeah. No, so back then, I would say, I'm trying to remember what years that would have been, but say back in the early 90s and stuff, the roads were unbelievably well kept. It was a first world country back then. So we really, as far as technology go, all that, they were probably on par with us here. It wasn't until apartheid ended and the government kind of changed that corruption set in, and then now, oh golly, if you're actually driving in a straight line, they'll probably give you a DUI. Like, you have to avoid those potholes. Like, they are big.
What did he haul?
Everything from any kind of agriculture. So he mainly hauled a lot of agricultural corn, stuff like that. And every now and then he would haul something on a flatbed, but mainly ag-related stuff that he would haul to the coast. And
He was getting the product from the
Out,
farmland to the
to the
coast to ship or
mainly
or
export
use.
stuff, yes.
Export. So, did either one of them ride horses?
No, my family's not a horse-oriented family at all. I don't know how I got that bug, when exactly it bit me, but it bit me young. I remember my dad buying me a pony, was probably 4 or 5 was my first pony he bought me. And so obviously I must have been bugging him about a pony and horses and stuff like that. And then by the age of 7, I really got into it.
So, were the people around? Did people around ride?
Yeah, so like I said, there was a really big trainer and breeder that probably one of the biggest in the country that lived in Kruitflay. And so,
Hopefully.
yep.
Getting closer.
I'm not.
Did the other kids ride?
No, not really. No, I was kind of the only kid there. There was maybe a handful of kids that would ride once or twice a year, but
But it wasn't.
Do you don't remember what sparked your interest?
no,
Like,
I don't. I honestly can't tell you. I was so young, but my dad really pushed me to it. I don't know if he could tell that was something I was interested in, but he always really shoved me in that direction.
What about your
He
brothers?
wanted me to be broke the rest of my life.
Addicted to poverty.
Yes.
Your brothers?
Oh, no, I kind of made it to the point they hate horses now. No, I put them on horses they never should have rode, and they would get bucked off. And like there was times where I had the broken leg, and I promised folks that I would get their horses started, and I would throw rocks at them until they got on.
And how much younger are they than you?
So we're all just about a year and a half apart.
Oh, right.
So we were
it's not
kinda-
an unfair fight.
No, it was fair. My middle brother is twice my size, and always has been.
Oh,
Like he's a
just
big guy.
so it was just a bluff.
Yeah, no, I could intimidate with the best of them.
I believe it. I was at a Brandon with the boys the other day and got a little unruly. And I mean, I just kind of, it wasn't much. And they snapped to in a hurry.
Good, I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. He asked him something, and was it
I think
Curly or
Yeah, Curly,
Dylan.
give me a yeah or something.
yeah. He just slapped him right in the
Yes.
chest. Yes, sir.
How high should I jump? That's awesome. I like it.
Yeah, we had no more troubles.
Good.
So what was school like there?
I would say real similar to here. It was all public schools, but you had to have a dress code. So you had usually your button-up white dress shirt, blue tie, gray slacks, black shoes polished, and then your sports coat, blue sports coat.
That really isn't like here.
No, but as far as the school systems go, it's run real similar.
Still up to high school.
Yes, and then so really everything for that first 12 grades are exactly set up like here. You got your 12th grades. Once you go to high school, you'll actually go to a different school. Since there's so many little towns, the one school would have the grade school, and then you go to the middle school, and then to the high school, and they're all in different towns.
What was it? The school itself, was it unruly there, or the kids were well behaved?
No,
or-
very well behaved. Spanking is still allowed and stuff like that. So if you stepped out of line, then
Just
usually
like home.
the principal would take care of it. Every now and then, if there's a male teacher, then he'll take care of it himself. But usually you get sent to the principal office, stick your head under his desk, and he'll hit you with a bamboo cane wrapped in electric tape.
Sound like you're pretty familiar with that.
Oh, yeah. No, we were best friends, me and our principal.
So how old are you? You got to be about my age, huh?
So I'm 39.
Yeah, a little younger than me. Yeah.
What are you?
41.
41. Well, we're all about the same age.
Yeah.
Yep, same.
Mine's 13 years.
Whatever, it's fine. Yeah, so this would have been your high school. You'd have graduated.
Graduated
in,
2002 is when I
and that's
graduated.
as soon as you graduated, you
Yep.
hightailed it.
Yeah, so graduated high school, and then actually my dad was already over here for about 3 years before, no, probably 2 years before I could make it over.
Parents stayed married.
Yep, they kind of, I believe my sophomore year is when they decided, hey, there's no future for us there, the three boys. They were perfectly fine living out their lives there, but they saw that there's no future for us, and it was only going to get worse. And come to find out, they were right. And at the time, golly, I fought them. I resented them for it.
Well, you didn't want to come over.
No, I didn't. I thought I was dating my love of my life, my high school sweetheart at the time, and I had already kind of plans of going to university there and all those kind of things. So I looked at it as they're ruining my life. And now, every day, I thank God that they...
Was she wealthy?
Yeah?
They might have.
No. Like, my parents did the best thing they could have for us there. It really was a blessing.
If she loved you, she would have followed you.
Exactly.
At least sent some checks.
No, it all worked out the way it should. I talked to friends back home, and boy, they are struggling.
So It crumbled overnight.
Yeah, I did. It was pretty fast. And again, I was pretty young. This was in 94. So how old would I have been? Like 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it all kind of changed when I was 10.
You were born in 84?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Just got, I guess that it was all over the news here, I'm assuming, with apartheid changing and stuff. And it needed to change, but the way they went about it was wrong. They threw people that didn't have even a high school degree into running a country. And so then it went from a first world country to a third world country in weeks. Just corruption got so out of control.
Now, give us a brief rundown on what apartheid was.
So again, at 10 years old, this is what I remember it being. And I lived in a small town, so it might have been completely different in the big cities and stuff. But I didn't see a big difference there. So the main thing was they couldn't vote. And so the native folks, which they are I can't remember what the ratio was. So the whites was maybe 15% of the population, and then the natives were the rest. And
85% could not vote.
Vote, yes.
Whoa.
And so, like I said, it's something that needed to change, but I think the reason it was like that is they were worried about being uneducated and then voting the wrong people into government, and then, like I said, having a bunch of people that can't do their jobs run a country. But in any way, got pressure put on them, political pressure from all over the world, and ended up changing the political system there, and it collapsed pretty fast.
So was it as racist or segregated as it was here?
No, not as I can recollect. Some of my best friends at that age were natives, and I mean, they stayed over, and we ate together, we played together, we went to school together. I mean, and this is recollection of a 10-year-old. So,
But also, you're way out, and it's probably different.
yeah, where I grew up,
People are people.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And
was
I
the
talked to a
violence-
lot of the natives before I even came here. Got to visiting with a lot of the friends of mine and stuff, and even they said that things were way better back then than it was back in 2002 when I left, and now it's 10 times worse.
So, was the violence immediate?
No, I wouldn't
It was
say
a while.
it was immediate. So the biggest thing in South Africa now is the farm murders. There is terrible. Like we just had really close friends just 2 weeks ago that she taught me math in middle school, and her husband got attacked on their farm and killed, and all they took is their car.
I saw that one. And then they wrecked it.
Mm-hmm. They did.
I did see that one.
Yeah, that was
I'll
my
be danged.
middle
No
school
kidding.
teacher.
Huh.
And so that's just one example, but and they're old. I can't even think of. They're probably in their 80s right now, and so to beat somebody to death when they're that frail in any way, it's savage.
So their trade had to crumble.
Yes, no. So all the export, all that changed, and it's such a mineral-rich country. That's why the country was so rich. The percentage of coal of the world, the percentage of gold, the percentage of diamonds at the time before the switchover in government, that country really did have the world at that point. They had all, I want to say it was in the 40s of the gold, of the whole world's gold system came from there. Same thing in the 20s in the coal and in the dime industry, percentages wise, they were really high. And I don't know what it is now, but it's not a fraction of that.
Was the poverty really bad when you were young, or can you even remember?
I didn't think so at the time. I don't think there was hardly any poverty, except around us there was no poverty in any way. But I know there's quite a bit now.
Huh.
Visiting with family members and stuff, there's a lot now.
So who took over all the gold and the
I
diamonds?
think there's a handful of people in government that just got so corrupt they kind of just scooped up all that money for themselves, and that whole industry just ended up collapsing.
That's wild.
But it's like anything in the world. There's always some wealthy folks from other countries that have their fingers in it. So I'm sure it wasn't just.
No,
folks
it's
from
almost
there.
never the country that collapses. It's
Yeah.
someone out there trying
Reaching
to get to
in.
the honey
Yeah.
of the country, and they cause disruption, and that allows them to steal.
Yep.
We'll probably learn a lot about that in the next 10 years or so.
Yeah, we're going to
I
get a little
hope
dose
not.
of it.
Hope not. This is by far the best country in the world.
Yeah.
There's no other place like it.
Hope we hold on.
My parents looked at Australia, New Zealand, and England, and all those places, and there was no doubt in my dad's mind this is where we needed to come.
Well, what did you do in high school?
Just ordinary kid. Obviously, I had a big focus in horses. In high school, I pretty much at that point started all this trainer and breeders colts and stuff like that. And then in school itself, I was a D student at best.
D for determined.
Yes, exactly. But I loved sports, so I played everything from golf to rugby to cricket, squash, track, all of it.
Was there a lot of hunting in your childhood?
Yes, no, we did a lot of hunting. So we kind of had to travel just a little bit away from where I lived to really get into a little more brushy areas, not so heavily farmed, to get back to hunting. Where I lived, it was so heavily farmed that a lot of the animals kind of.
Did you buy all your food, or did you guys have to raise some?
No, we bought all our food. It's real similar to here. You have your little grocery store and you just go buy your stuff, which there was freshly baked bread and stuff. Like it wasn't as preserved. I guess is the word.
Yeah. Kind of farm to market.
Yes.
Did a lot of people live off of the closest, like from your own community, or did the supplies have to come from Johannesburg and places
Yeah,
like
so
that?
they will actually ship a lot of those things. Now, your produce and things like that, a lot of it came from closer. But anything that was packaged mainly came from those bigger
Johannesburg.
cities. Yes.
Yeah. A lot of fishing?
Nope. There's just kind of freshwater fishing. So a lot of carp is probably what the most common, and catfish was the two most common
Oh,
things,
really?
because they're just ponds and stuff like that. There wasn't any major rivers or anything like that by us. Now, rest of South Africa, there's a lot of fishing, trout fishing, and obviously when you get to the coast, lots of deep sea fishing and things.
Did you eat much fish?
Oh yeah, no. So even though I'm saying we're in this middle of South Africa, you have to kind of put it to scale. I've heard somebody the other day say that South Africa is the size of the biggest and smallest state combined. So what would that be?
Take Alaska and Rhode Island.
Yes, there you go. So take that, and that's South Africa. And so I want to say to the tip of South Africa, Cape Town was quite a drive. It was probably about a 10-hour drive. But then if you go east and west, it was a lot closer. I think we were only maybe 6 or 5 or 6. Maybe, I think it was 5 hours from it. So
wow.
Fish would get shipped in really easy.
Fresh,
like 5
yeah.
hours from the coast. And so it really wasn't a bad deal. Grew up on a lot of fish.
Were you fond of snakes young?
Oof, I still hate snakes. Snakes is a phobia of mine. They're some of the craziest looking snakes there in Africa. Like there's the Rinkels is one that actually runs on maybe a third of his body, and the rest just looks like a T-post going down the pasture.
And
Wow.
Just stands straight up. And it can scoot.
And what's it called?
Rinkels.
Is it poisonous?
Yes.
Do they have
About
any?
everything is
Do they have
poisonous.
any non-poisonous snakes in Africa?
I'm sure they are. I didn't stay to look at them that close. They were all poisonous to me.
Well, what does it do? What does it
Rainbows?
hunt? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure just mice and things like that, whatever snakes
Were
hunt
they
here.
aggressive?
No, I wouldn't say they were aggressive. But it's definitely something you didn't want to go cross paths with. That was probably the most common snake in our area was the wrinkles, and the most.
That was the common one?
Yeah.
So how tall, how long were they?
Oh, golly, I'll probably exaggerate since I was so
Since
much
you were
younger.
10.
Yeah. But I remember loping horses down the pasture, and then they would come at least my saddle height.
Just look you in the eye.
Well, no, it wasn't. But again, everything in Africa seems maybe that people exaggerate a little bit. But there are a lot of snakes. You just made sure you were careful about it.
So did it ever get cold?
So where we lived, it would be, again, a lot more comparable to Wynnewood. Like there might be a week out of the whole year where it would get cold. But then the rest of your winter, it would be in the 60s, 50s, 60s.
So
Are we talking about the same Wynnewood?
Since I've lived there, it has not gotten that cold.
He's from. It got cold where.
Yeah, I lived in Colby, Kansas. That's the
Yeah.
armpit of the world.
And it blew.
Non-stop.
Windy.
Yeah. No, it's a lot. So
There's pictures of a corn husk fog.
Yeah, no, their dirt dust storms there are pretty common. Really common. But back to South Africa, the weather there, and it never really got that hot either. Like it was a very mild climate. Like I would say if it reached 95, then it was considered hot.
Were there lions and stuff where you were at?
No, they were pretty much driven in, like I said, more thick areas in South Africa. And then guys over time went and made them into reserves. Like the Kruger National Park's probably the thickest reserve there and the biggest. I can't remember. You could probably look up the Kruger National Park, but it's really well known.
Krugerrand.
Yeah,
That's the
Kruger
money.
Rand.
That's
There
not
you go.
Rick. Krugerrand. That's
Yes.
what I learned from Lethal Weapon 2.
Wealth and knowledge from Lethal Weapon 2. But so most of those lions and stuff are actually at least in reservations and stuff like that. I'm sure every now and then one would sneak out, but it's not something you'll run into all the time. Now, the most dangerous animal that is kind of running loose is the hippo.
Dude, they say them things kill a lot of people.
Yes, they do. They're very dangerous, and I think mainly people think they're not fast and they can outrun us. There's no way.
How
that
fast can they run?
Oh, I don't know. We could probably look it up on Chris's phone here, but I want to say probably 35 miles an hour would be my
Fast
guess.
as a horse.
Oh, yeah. No, it runs just as fast as a horse, I bet.
Huh.
And they are a big animal. Big, big animal.
Like a ton? No, more.
Bigger, I think.
Yes. No, they're heavy
thick,
animals.
thick. Like
They're all
2 ton.
animal. And they're not, I don't know, they're just, I bet they're.
on average, hippos can run at speeds of around 19 to 28 miles
Okay,
per
so I
hour.
was off.
That's
But
still pretty
I
fast.
cannot run that fast.
No. That might not sound very fast compared to a cheetah,
Yeah.
but
no,
it's
that's
still pretty
fast.
impressive.
And how much do they weigh when they're fully grown?
Bum, 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 bum. Well, you'd think all that would be on the same place.
I mean, they are huge animals. For something to run 19 miles an hour and be that big with not very long, they like looks like corgis. Their
Really?
legs compared to the body is really short.
They're about 5'2",
Really?
kind of average height, and length between 10 and 16 feet long. They live up to 40 years.
But that animal's killed more people than a lion in Africa.
Yeah, I knew that one. And they're pretty,
They're kind of in every pond, every water reservoir. They're everywhere.
and your grandpa told you not to go fishing.
Mm-hmm.
He had a little brush.
Yes. No, we got chased all the way down from the pond And I had to run tree to tree to tree back to the house and got a whipping by the time I got up there.
The average adult weight is around 3,200 pounds.
Yeah, that's a big animal.
3,000 pounds for the bulls and 3,000 pounds for the cows. So ton and a half, a little more than a ton and a half.
That's big.
And that's like 3 horses, 3 good-sized horses.
Good sized horses, yeah.
Coming at you at 19 miles an hour.
Tell us about your disobedience
Which time?
with the fishing poles that they tried to hide from you.
Yes. So during the calving season of the hippo
hippos.
calving season, my grandpa would always hide the fishing poles, and they lived kind of up on a hill, and then about 300 foot down is his pond that we always went fishing with a bunch of cattails and stuff like that around. And that's when those hippos are most aggressive, is during calving season. So he would hide them from us. And somehow I sniffed out those fishing poles and went fishing without them and regretted it, because I heard those cattails rattling and I instantly threw my pole down and started running. And by the time I was barely away from the water, it left the cattails and it chased me all the way to the house. And the only reason I think I got away was the trees. I could go from tree to tree that would slow it up.
You could have been
Did
eaten.
it chew on them?
Oh
Or
yeah,
run
it would
into
like it
them,
would
or-
actually get and hit those things trying to get
While
through
you
it.
were on the other side of
Yeah.
it? Ooh, that's a little right and left around the...
Oh, it was screaming, bawling my eyes out. Like I was in
Apparently,
a
you
complete
could run.
panic.
You could run faster scared than it could mad, though. Apparently,
Yeah, no, I did. And my grandpa just grabbed my arm as I got up to the house and closed the big sliding door on the porch and got to whooping. He didn't even say anything. I was jumping circles around him.
take your chances with the hippo. Just stay out here and keep running around these trees.
Exactly. No, but no, that was quite a way to grow up.
But
So being
the
on
pink
the-
hippo deal is real.
The what?
Pink.
Oh, yeah, because they somehow their blood goes into their sweat, and so then it turns it like a pinkish red color. Like they sweat some of their blood. That's why you've seen these cartoons being pink hippos.
You always just think it's... I don't know what I thought. I thought it was something silly someone made up, but it's true.
Like all
there's
the
this-
time, they're pink.
No, it's like I said, when they get to sweating, somehow that sweat takes some of their blood and they sweat it out. And they're not pink, like obviously not like a cartoon, but they do turn a pinkish color.
I got you.
Did you know anybody get killed by one back there?
No, people were fairly smart about it. Well, I say no. I actually did know of some of the natives folks getting killed at night walking around, maybe intoxicated or whatever the case might have been. But that's
Were
kinda
they
all.
can they see good at night?
I'm assuming so. Most animals can. Right?
Yeah.
I missed out. What's the inside joke?
I don't even know it, so it's fine.
But no, we
And
actually
they're
had a
just
lot
a
of.
plant eater?
No, they're
Straight?
people eaters.
They're
Sounds
just
like
a little fishing kid eater.
Right.
Little kid fish eaters.
Yeah, I actually couldn't answer what exactly they eat.
back statistician reference
There you
department
go.
goes back to work.
Because my grandparents have living on that banana plantation there was a lot of baboons and stuff like that. So
What were
they
those like?
We had a lot of fun as young kids. We all had motorcycles and little Red Riders, and so we again was not allowed to do this unless we could get away with it, nobody knowing. We would kind of push our motorcycles away from the house, start it up, and then go into these banana plantation with our Red Riders. And there's always one standing guard, fire guard, whatever you want to call it, and the rest is eating and whatever. And so we would try and shoot him in the butt and then try and race away as fast as we can. And I remember laying flat trying to get aerodynamic in that whole group of bananas or baboons chasing you.
Jeez.
And you're just on a 50cc throttle all the way open,
With the
If they
baboons
ever-
chasing you?
Yeah, if they would have ever caught us or our motorcycles failed us, we would have been ripped to pieces.
Yeah, they'll tear your arms off.
Mm-hmm. No, we did a lot of stupid stuff.
How many of them in a group?
Oh, as far as I can recollect, it seemed like 300, but no, that's an exaggeration. I would bet there's probably 10, 15,
Wow.
like that.
And your bikes never failed.
Nope, knock on wood, they never did.
What else did you do that wasn't that brilliant?
Oh, it's a list as long as my arm.
Their skin secretes a natural red-colored sunscreen substance that is sometimes referred to as blood sweat, but is neither blood nor sweat.
Oh, see, I'm wrong.
This secretion is initially colorless and turns red-orange within minutes, eventually becoming brown. Two highly acidic pigments have been identified in their secretions. One red, hipposudoric acid, and one orange, norhipposudoric acid, which inhibit the growth of disease-causing bacteria, and their light absorption profile peaks in the ultraviolet range, creating a sunscreen effect.
Oh, so it's a sunscreen.
There you go.
That's why they're pink. But they do look kind of funny when they have that on them.
Huh. Wow.
But a lot of stupid things have been done. I remember same motorcycles, birthday party, and my mom was involved. I think I was maybe nagging my brother. It's my turn at the birthday party. It's my party, being a brat. And a friend and my brother and his friend was sitting on the motorcycle, four-wheeler, and plumb run me over. And next thing I know, my mom grabbed a baseball bat, chasing him with the baseball bat. My friend arching his back, telling him to go faster. I luckily didn't get hurt. I don't know. It must have cleared me, but did not get hurt.
Did you guys fight a lot young?
Yeah, I would say we probably no more than any regular siblings. But I was good at the intimidation deal, and my youngest brother was just really quick, so we would both pick on my middle brother.
I meant with other people.
Oh no, we weren't really mean.
Just baboons.
Yes.
And hippos are herbivores,
Did
contrary to popular belief.
There you go.
They will eat some fish. There are reports of some cannibalism. However, their stomach anatomy lack adaptations to carnivory and meat eating. So, there you have it.
good
So they
to know.
just kill you because
They just kill you. They just
territorial
kill you
there.
for sport,
Because you were fishing.
much like my wife. Stack the bodies just because you can.
Did what else animals were? Did the baboons come into the houses?
So there's this monkey called the blue monkey that they're kind of mischievous and would get through open windows and stuff and come tear everything up in your house, pull all the plates down. And
In the house.
Did you
How
just-
many
Did
monkeys?
you just blame it on the blue monkey? Like,
Yeah.
you just like, Mom, I
Dang,
swear
blue
the blue
monkeys."
monkeys come in again. Sorry,
on
little rascals.
graduation night.
You wouldn't believe it.
yeah,
The whole high school was not here. It was a small herd of blue monkeys.
they love beer.
They left all their empties.
And they can smoke.
Now that is one thing I don't do. I'd rather crap my pants and smell like smoke.
The lucky. Were there lots of different kinds of monkeys?
Those were kind of the two, the baboons, obviously, and the blue monkeys. But those are the two I remember. I don't remember really any other kind of monkeys.
Does monkeys eat snakes?
Don't
They're
know.
scared
I've
of
never
'em.
seen one eat it. I think they will kill them, but I don't think they eat them.
Were they mostly ate plants?
Yes, so obviously around those plantations,
Banana
they
trees,
would
they
eat
were-
avocados and stuff like that.
They're a problem that way.
Yep.
A lot of birds.
So what about
Oh,
the
yeah.
protection on those? Like with farmers, I mean, obviously, I mean, if you're raising bananas and you got a herd of bamboons laying
I
around
think they go ahead and probably thin them out to a certain extent. There was always a bunch of them around, but they would probably go thin them out. I was never involved in any of that.
Where did you guys have guns and stuff?
Yes, we did. We always had tons of guns on hand. I know for a little while the government were trying to pass some things to where a lot of farmers ended up like burying ammunition and guns and things like that, to where they limited you to, I think it was like either you could choose between having one handgun and a shotgun, or like a shotgun and a rifle. There was something like that they passed.
Mm.
and they did
And it
pass
passed. So then ammo got
And then you
expensive.
had to do certain licenses if you were part of like a guiding, like safari guiding. Then you could have certain guns, rifles, more of them, but then you had to have the right licenses and stuff like that to have it.
Huh.
So is it like an alleged democracy now, or is it?
Um,
What would you? Is it
it's
socialist?
still a democratic is what it is. They
A
used
corrupt
to-
democracy.
yes, that's exactly what it is.
Gotcha.
Like very corrupt.
Yeah, we're getting close.
No, we're not. Nothing like that yet.
It'll happen fast though.
Yeah, it happened fast in South Africa. I know that much. It really doesn't even look like the same country. And I haven't been back. My brothers, my mom have been back, and every time they come back, it's sad.
How much family do you have left?
So all
there?
my aunts and uncles are still there, and cousins and stuff like that. So my mom and two brothers, my dad, all came over with us. But so the rest of the family is all still there. They're all around Pretoria. We ended up moving my grandparents and stuff off of the farm for safety reasons. Was not safe to stay out there anymore. So they all kind of moved to the city for safety reasons.
And is that people coming from the city?
Yeah, so
looking
usually
for
it's
resources?
juveniles or gang related stuff. That is what I was told. They would kind of have groups go out from the inner cities and then attack these farmsteads and stuff like that. It was never really the natives that lived in the rural communities. They were really good people, like I said, friends of ours. And so all these attacks came from natives that was in the cities.
Mm.
Now, do your folks say anything about, are there any, I mean, some of the signs, like some of the things that led up to the fall? Like anything that, like,
I was
Could
so
be
little
repeated?
at that time. So a
sure,
lot-
but I didn't know, just talking to your parents.
Yeah, I don't know. They were on the side, I guess, that said, "Hey, apartheid needed to happen," but
And
they
needed it. The end of it needed to
yes,
happen.
the end of it needed to happen, and so they actually were voting for that to end. But they said that we needed to do it gradually. We needed to educate the parliament leaders so they could actually do a good job running a country. But then there was so much political pressure from all over the world, all the other countries, that it happened overnight.
So was it all strictly a color line, the apartheid?
Yes.
There were no blacks in government.
Nope.
None.
None.
How did they?
And again, now
how did they even?
that's me as a 10-year-old. That's how I remember it. There were none.
so it may have been.
Yeah.
There may have been some.
As far as I can recollect, there wasn't.
Well, there had to be ownership, and how in the world did it? So that was
1994 is when it all changed.
That is so long for something like that to stay that way. That's
Oh yeah, no, it was for hundreds of years.
hundreds and hundreds.
Well, you can say segregation here ended in the 60s or whatever, but it didn't. I mean, not in the South anyway.
Well, and now
I mean,
there's always places
right.
where you don't go and you don't go or
Yeah.
you don't come back stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't care what it is. I don't, it's not, when you go to other places, it's not always color. There's these whites don't like those whites. You go somewhere else. These blacks don't like those blacks. You go somewhere else. These Mexicans don't like those Mexicans. It's just it's environmental.
Oh yeah.
Ecological, cultural. There's all kinds of sorts on it. It's just hard to imagine it didn't mingle a little better.
But there's a lot of different cultures there in South Africa, like everything from Indian influence, European, obviously Dutch, and then your native tribes and stuff like that. It was a very diverse.
It was.
Like our school was, we even had kids that were born in India that was going to school with me. And
so, but you did not speak English when you moved here.
well, I was a very broken English, so I was really bad since I grew up in a rural area. So my cousins growing up in the cities was a lot more bilingual than I was. But I grew up in a small farm community that everything was Afrikaans. All the natives spoke Afrikaans or speak Afrikaans. And so I had a second language in school that we did English, and I paid no attention is probably the right word. It was a screw around class. And so I wish I paid a little closer attention in that class now, but it's amazing how fast you can pick up the language if you're kind of drowning in it.
Well, the Germanic languages tie together a little easier.
Yeah.
The Dutch and the German, and English,
Yes.
they're all German. It's all
but
Germanic.
but he didn't speak. What did you speak?
It's called Afrikaans.
Right,
yeah.
but it's based in Dutch and German,
Yes.
and so it's a Germanic.
Correct.
It's not a Latin based. It's a It's a Germanic, and so they tie together a little easier than you would think.
But I can tell you, it was really hard to learn the language, not just to speak it, but to read and write and all that. It was tough. You kind of felt really stupid for a long time, even though you're like, I know I'm not I'm about to say a bad thing, but I'm not a stupid guy, but you sure feel like it. Even when you went up to go order something from McDonald's, you stuttered and couldn't get your point across and got
The number one.
yeah, you got the hand signals out. And so I came over and actually worked in a hog barn for a whole year. When I first came over, graduated high
Kansas?
school. Yep.
Y'all came straight to Colby, Kansas.
And so then worked in a hog barn there for a whole year, and then had to go back because I was just on a permanent visa then. I think it was called the H-2A visa, because my dad was still with the lawyers trying to get like the green cards for the whole family to come. And so I went back after that year working in the hog barn, and then I want to say about 6 months after I went back, finally the lawyers and stuff got things put together, and the rest of the family and myself flew back. And then we were here for good.
And the hog barn was in Colby, Kansas.
No, it was a little town called Long Island, Kansas, which is a little northeast of there, right on the
And
Nebraska
I bet
border.
you don't never want to go in a hog barn again.
Yeah, no, it was a way to make a living. But no, it gets in your pores every time you wash your hair. Everything smells like hog.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I mean, that the hog farming deal. Have you been around much of that? It's unbelievable.
Intense.
Intense.
Farming.
They just like the smell.
Oh, it's very
Like-
it's like your eyes water.
Yeah, and like you can wash your truck as many times as you
It'll
want,
always smell like
and it will always smell like that. I mean, there's no getting away from it.
Yeah, I worked about halfway between Colby and Grand Island is where the hog barn was, where I worked for a year.
So you were graduated when you came.
Yes.
No more school here.
Nope, my brothers did. I never did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. I went to college after the year of working with the hogs. I went to college. That's where I really struggled with the language, having to do essays and things like that. That's where I really had to step up. Carried around a bilingual dictionary everywhere I went, trying to communicate with people. Did a lot of hand signaling, and you could probably tell the frustration in my face for a couple of years there in college.
That's what it probably took, 2 years. 3 years to be?
After the first year, it got a lot easier. My first class was animal science, and I remember sitting in this auditorium classroom and catching very little of what my instructor was saying. And walking out of there thinking, what in the world am I doing here? And just kind of stuck it out. First semester, terrible grades. Second semester, grades were up. And by the third semester, I think I was at a 3.8.
Oh.
Third semester, and then it just got easier from there on out.
Where'd you go to school?
Oh, just a community college right there in Colby.
Oh, right.
That's how I ended up
And what
there.
were you going there for?
So actually there was an instructor called Dr. Kelly Riccatelli, which was known, she was known for being one of the best equine reproductive specialists. She came from Texas A&M to Colby, and now she's at Texas Tech. And so I kind of went there for her to kind of get a foot in the door with the repro deal.
So you've been hooked on the horses.
Yes.
So how did you get after the pony? How did you ride at home in South Africa?
So the guy that lived close to us kind of took me under his wing, knowing my family knew nothing about horses. And so for
What was his name?
Kivit Hartman.
Oh, Hartman.
Yep.
Got him.
Great guy. Without him, I would not be into horses like I am now. Helped me, and his son actually was a dressage trainer in the United States here for several years at a top level. So most of my middle school years, he was here. And so then that's when I kind of helped his dad out quite a bit. And when he came back, he kind of took me under his wing as well and started training under him. And by the time I was 14, I was doing mainly all the training and starting and stuff there on the place, and doing a lot of showing. And
Just
all
in the
through high school.
dressage?
Yep, just in the dressage. There's no Western there.
We need you, might need you to come to the house. My wife's been struggling a little in that dressage. And so we might.
That's been 20 years ago. I don't know if I could fit in those tights anymore.
My wife don't need to see you in tights. She just needs some help with some of these dressage maneuvers.
Farming him out.
I didn't know she was doing dressage.
Oh yeah, she does a 3-day event.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, bunch of it. But yeah, she's been struggling there. So
I bet that's why she's such a good rider. It really does help. Have you tried any of it yet?
yeah, a little. That dressage saddle's something else.
It is.
One of my very first formal lesson was at hunt seat. So
Oh, yeah, that's right.
yeah. So I mean, I was around quite a bit of that with the hunt seat horses that my mom trained and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I've rode in flat saddles a fair bit.
No, they are. I think that's why I never went back to it. Is once I got it in a Western saddle, I just felt comfortable. That English saddles, I always felt uncomfortable. I always had those sweatpants that actually had the sides that you could open up. Once I hit kind of puberty, I never felt comfortable in those pants, and I would actually put those on, and I would get on my horse, take those off, and go show. And then I would put them back on. I would not get off that horse for those pants. Like, you had lumps in places you didn't need lumps.
So most of the riding there was English
Yes.
showing.
Yes, and so obviously the dressage was probably the biggest. Then you had your show jumping, and then there was a big influence on the endurance riding as well. That was really big back there as well.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like, they would import all kinds of Arabians and stuff like that for that purpose.
Huh. Did it pay?
Yes, no, actually they got, same as here, they got sponsors involved and stuff like that. And I can't remember how much, obviously it was in rands, but it did pay a lot for an equine sport in Africa.
And you thought that was where you were going?
Yes, no, I just figured I would stay on and take over, which I was kind of the head by the time I left. I was the head trainer there and stuff, but I just figured I was going to stay on there and train horses there for the rest of my life. I was okay with it.
But no jumping.
No, I kind of dabbled in the jumping, but it really wasn't. It was more the dressage that we were geared towards. The native breed we were involved in wasn't big enough to do the jumping. They were a smaller. So
what breed is that?
It's a nooit gedacht.
Oh, Jesus.
Nooit gedacht.
Yep, there you go.
There you go.
Got it. You're actually really good at this.
He's a linguist.
Yes, he is. So I guess this, as the story goes, during World War II and stuff, a lot of those horses ran up into the mountainsides of Africa, and they were mainly a thoroughbred influence on these horses. So they escaped into the mountainsides, and I don't know, over a period of time, the government actually went and gathered these horses up and made a breed out of them. I don't think it was World War II. It was before that. Like, it was maybe World War I or something like that all these horses got away. And you could probably read up on the history of these horses, but their size was probably on average that 14-1 to 15 hands was big, yes. And so they were
similar
too
to what
small.
we're riding.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. They were kind of a cow pony. A lot of them were used on the ranches then. A lot of the ranchers would use them gathering their cattle and stuff like that. They even had some of those bloodlines that were gated.
Oh. So how big was the ranching?
So the ranching there's big. Like, there was lots of big ranches and a lot of Brahma cattle.
But not much Western. Right. Now, that's strange for their coming. Did they work them a horseback? And you said they worked them a horseback.
Yes, they do. They would,
but not much Western horse influence in the culture.
None. There was not a Western saddle in sight. I'm sure it's changed now over the last 20 years. The Western industry's grown.
Now, were they working
world.
Were they working their cows like in the English type saddle?
Yes, kind of like I would say
Australia.
similar to an Australian stock saddle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they use whips?
Yes, lots of whips. Like, whips were very
No
common.
ropes.
No ropes.
Huh. Did they tail cattle down?
No, maybe
That's
at
not
one
true.
point, but by the time I came around, it was very
Say the name of the breed of horse again.
nooit gedacht. So it's let me try and remember. Nooit
Well, I'm just looking.
G. Let me see if I can help you.
There it is. Got
Found
him.
it? Okay.
Yep. The
Nooit gedacht.
The nooit gedacht pony.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's so they're known for their temperament. So they have a great disposition.
Oh.
Like,
The breed is sturdy, kind, attractive, and 5-gated. 5-gated.
yeah, not all of the bloodlines, but there's a few of them that's 5-gated.
It's used for polo, dressage, show jumping, and hacking. Is a favorite for children.
Yeah.
It's usually roan or light brown in color with dark points.
It's actually a really good horse, versatile horse. I would say would be the quarter horse of South Africa. Kind of used for gymkhana, everything
So
like that.
if the rancher was that big, what did they have any sport that the ranchers competed in? You know, like they have the
Camp drafting
in Australia and
Yeah,
rodeo here,
nothing
or-
like that. So there was gymkhana was a big thing back there too, but it was kind of like play days, gymkhanas. But a lot of the ranchers, which this Kivit Hartman was one of them, they would go show their horses off in the show pen, like the dressage and stuff like that. It was a big thing to have
Wow.
a good stallion that everybody would want to come breed to instead of breeding to the neighbor that imported this horse out of England. Because there was another big breeder in our area, and they were Arabians, would import these Arabians, and they would do dressage and stuff on those. But then the proud South Africans want to kind of puff up their chests and go compete against the thoroughbreds and the stuff like that. And they actually were really competitive. Like, even there would be judges from the United States that would actually compliment us on their horses. They had no idea how good those horses were actually
I'll be darned.
being. But no, it's a great breed, mainly because they were so easy to train. Like, I actually, when I first came over here, thought these horses were hard to get around, and they're, talking to you guys, a lot easier to get around now than they were back then. They were very good-minded horses.
Huh.
Very rarely did those horses ever get bronchi or anything like
Really?
that. About 30 days, you could do about anything on them. They were gentle.
Have you ever watched EJ train one? EJ's horse trained son of a gun. Maybe he's just better than we are.
Maybe they weren't that good.
I don't know that the horses were that easy.
The 5 I had were terrible. Tried to rub me off on a fence.
So what about your experience with cows? Did you have any? What would you? I mean, how many?
Yeah, so we did. The guy that I worked for
Keevan?
also, yes, he ranched, and so we would be horseback all the time gathering cattle, but we always had to drive them to the corrals and then did all the doctoring and stuff in the corrals. So it wasn't that they ever got roped or anything like that. It was squeeze shoots, things like that.
Dogs?
Yes, dogs was involved.
What kind?
So they had, I would say border collies, but they were kind of cow dogs, but I bet they were just border collie bred dogs. They looked a lot like border
Kelpie?
collies. No.
No.
I think they were mainly border collies because it's such a big country for sheep, so border collies
They had to have
everywhere.
They had to have a better name than that.
Sheep?
No?
You got to make something up.
No, like, so sheep's a big thing in South Africa, so that's, I think, why the border collies were so prominent, is to work those sheep.
Hey, you know they came up with a new use for sheep in South Africa?
Oh,
What's
no.
that?
Wool.
Oh, darn it. He's been
I didn't
waiting to
even
use
know.
that.
I know. I'm sure he has.
That's awesome.
What were the predators on sheep? What did you have?
Oh, God.
So the main predator is kind of like a coyote, but it's called a jackal.
Oh,
And they were kind of everywhere.
hyenas or any other
those kind
cats?
of predators were kind of hunted into those reserves by the time I was born. There would be the mountain lion and minx cats and stuff like that, but not very often.
Oh, really?
So jackals, that'd be kind of y'all's version of a coyote.
Yes, exactly. Kind of a scavenger type hunter.
They're not as big as a hyena.
No, hyena is probably 4 or 5 times bigger.
Oh, geez.
Oh, really?
Hyenas get big.
Were there any of those there?
Hyenas? Oh, yeah, but you would, like I said, you would have to go to those
Reserve?
reserves to get to them.
Dude, I seen a dude on the, I don't know, the TikTok or the Facebook or something the other day, and it's like the modern day Tarzan. He's got these lions that like jump on his back, look like they're humping him, and there's hyenas. He's swimming with the hyenas. I'm telling you, it's what it looks like when you find him. If you're running across him, you'll think the same thing.
Where's this
I know
guy
you
live?
will.
I'll promise you. Well, I don't even know. I don't remember where I saw it. It was on one of these stupid
You're not thinking
social
about
media
Tiger
things.
King?
No,
Oh.
no, it was. Oh, it was
He's in
YouTube.
jail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's got other things humping him. Modern day Tarzan. Let's see what comes.
Oh,
up.
that's what his title is?
I don't know. I don't know about that. Something.
made it up. Good Lord.
Meet the real life Tarzan who grew up with tigers. I think this is him. No, maybe not.
I'm Cody Yentl, and I'm the real life Tarzan.
Oh, wow.
I was really lucky. I was born into this. My father started the whole thing about 35 years ago with
Yeah.
the animals, so I was just one of them born into the litter. I had tigers as my big sisters and brothers, and I had the elephant as my big sister growing up, and it's just been a whole life filled with
This is not the video I saw, but I think this is the
The
guy.
same guy.
Yeah.
Surely there's not more
And I
than one
raised
real
him
Tarzan.
to be Mowgli, to be a guy that had tiger cubs in his bed, chimpanzees as his best friends.
Oh, golly, this guy's
traveling
real
around
long.
with our elephant, playing in the
Dude.
woods with her as his babysitter.
I'm telling you, it's.
Oh, he was on the Tiger King.
Was he?
Yes. Wasn't that guy on the Tiger King? Well, you'll see his picture again.
Too close to home.
There he is.
Kids his own age have never been his forte as much as a chimpanzee
Doesn't he look familiar?
as a
He's just got one of those faces.
Yeah, he does.
It's almost more than a brother and
But no, so South Africa is a little different than the rest of Africa. It's actually a very modernized country. Because of the mineral richness of the country, they got developed, and
They had the wealth.
yes.
The wealth came. And that's probably what
And that's
got
why
settled
all those
for.
wildlife and stuff like that kind of got corralled up into those reservations, so they can actually farm and ranch and export things. And oh golly, he does. That's a
Does what?
crazy guy.
Oh my Lord.
Makes him look like a toothpick.
Right?
For the viewers.
Yeah.
That
well,
guy is standing between two tigers. One's white and one's orange and black. And they are easily
he's got his arms
4
over his
foot.
head. They are standing with their feet on his shoulders,
Golly.
drinking
He's-
milk out of bottles that he is holding at full extension above his head.
and he's barely at their armpits.
Yeah.
And they look to be fully 3 times as heavy as him.
At
I mean,
least.
they're
they're huge.
way beyond double. Dude,
big
that
cats.
makes you know, like
One
you know
wrong
how
move and they
athletic
can-
a cat is. So can you imagine that thing after you?
I don't trust an animal enough to be doing that.
They're what the hell are you watching
He was
now?
doing sit-ups and this monkey was slapping him in the belly. There's nothing dirty on this phone. This is not an edit, Mark. This is not an edit. It's fine.
Just a monkey slapping a guy in
You
the
know how hard a monkey can hit? I barely do a sit up as it is. Slap the cupcakes out of you. Jeez, the lion's
my gosh.
paw is as big as
Is
his
his head. Yes.
Oh my God.
This is how your mom grew up.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Like I said, it was pretty feral growing up there. We had Polaroid pictures, and
I don't even
now
know.
he's in a tree. At least he's not in the thong.
He's not wearing his
He's not a
Cheetos.
real. He's not a real
Isaac, don't
Tarzan.
worry. He's not. He did not steal your
Where's
Cheeto.
Cheeto? It's so good that we don't have video.
Yes.
We can just explain what Chris has brought up.
That's craziness. I didn't find the video that there is the one. I promise that's what it looks like.
Well,
These things are running up behind him like he's running through the woods with a lion chasing him, and then it like jumps on his back and down they go, and then they just cuddle.
Just cuddle.
I'm like, whoa,
No, I don't
That's
trust.
a 10.
let's just run along and let a horse jump on you.
Yeah, that's 10-4 negative, Ghost Rider.
Oh. Yeah, no, I'm out.
We got a
That's like the one thing I do. The one of the few clips I saw from Joe Exotic is when the tiger grabs his leg and runs off dragging him.
Yes.
I mean, he's
And
like
plays
a
it off
rag
like it's
doll.
not a big deal, and it
Well,
was a
except
big
for when he
deal.
pulled his gun out, went to shooting at it while it's dragging him. Holy mackerel! This is phenomenal. He never went to town without that gun. He had a donut shop, all
Really?
that stuff, and you're like, oh, he's just wearing it for look. No, you need it.
never know. You might need to shoot a tiger.
It's dragging you across.
Don't mess with tigers.
Don't mess. It's not so hard to do now without my shooting.
You're fitting in more
I
and
do
more.
the messing.
You're fitting in more and more with the natives.
I am the native.
I feel like we've gotten off topic.
A little bit.
I got it. We were riding horses.
Talking about the Noitgedachts, the
Yeah,
breed.
no,
So a
it's
cool
just-
thing they did that I thought actually was pretty.
Noikadox.
Noitgedachts.
Well, you know, in Italy they use the poles when they're running the bulls around.
Oh yeah.
Did they do anything like that?
No, it was pretty.
What'd
like
you
I
do
said,
when the cattle didn't want to go?
the whips? That's gonna. So
Oh,
if
bull
you
whips.
didn't have the
Yeah.
bull whip, then you were kind of up the
Afoot.
creek. But the cattle there again was Brahmas, and then again we had lots of native workers. So gathering cattle, where you would say have 4 or 5 guys here, you would have 20 or 30 people helping you gather cattle.
A footback or horseback?
A little both.
Everything.
Like there'll be some horseback and some afoot. And there'll be guys on trucks wherever there's a pickup that can fit. And
Did they have did you guys have 4-wheelers or 3-wheelers or motorcycles and
you had all that. Yep.
did they gather them with helicopters?
No. So the wildlife a lot of times would get gathered with the helicopters.
Like Marlon Perkins, Mutual of Omaha. You know that
Oh, yeah,
show?
Yeah. They played on RFD.
Those shows were beyond incredible. The greatest one of all is Marlon Perkins is the old gray-haired guy from Mutual Omaha, and he had a young guy, and I think his name might have been Russell or Rusty or something. But he's a young, kind of a strapping buck.
Must have been a good guy.
He got sent in. He got sent on all kinds of stuff. Well, one time, I can't remember why, they're trying to catch a cheetah, and he's horseback, and no saddle horn, so he's tied off through the gullet and ropes a cheetah, and stuff gets
I always hear they come up the rope. Did it?
Well, they got him around a tree, and then some guys, somehow they got him mugged down.
Wow.
And then sedated him, and they were doing something, they were tagging him or something. It was with the nature group.
And that guy was ready to die to do it.
Well, I'm not sure he thought he would.
Marlon wouldn't send me anywhere. I might get hurt.
Yeah. Hey, he did stuff.
Huh.
It was way back. It was sponsored by Disney.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom with Marlon Perkins.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I've never seen that.
Oh, I would love to see it.
Director Emeritus, St. Louis Zoo. With Jim Fowler.
That's probably who it was, Jim Fowler. Should have named him Rusty.
You just thought he was that cool. Should have been
Yeah.
Rusty.
Maybe they named me after the wrong person.
So I'll get us back on topic here.
Hey, do you have pythons?
Pythons? Not where I lived. I believe that was a little further north Africa, but you would find that. But not
Oh. So,
What about the Ghost in the Darkness? Was that anywhere near you?
So I think that was a little bit further north. A lot of that got filmed in our area.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
really? But it was in South Africa. No.
I'm
was
not going to
just in
say
Africa,
no. I was going to
yeah.
say no. I think it was somewhere in Africa, but I don't know where.
I read the real book.
But a lot of it got filmed in South Africa.
No kidding.
Hey, I read the book on that deal.
Oh, it's a great movie too. You should watch the movie. It's a wonderful.
I watched the movie,
Oh, you did?
and then I went and watched footage of, what were the tall guys called that would go hunt the lions with the spears?
I believe they were Maasai tribe.
Maasai.
Yeah.
Them were the baddest son of a guns
They can jump.
on the face of the earth. It's because I wouldn't have thought they had the video really then, but they go out and video those guys way back then, killing lions.
When did
This
that
was
take
spears
place?
and
With a spear, barefoot spear, wooden shield.
I bet early 19. I bet around that 1920 would be my guess when all that took
Well,
place.
who knows with the movie, but it's still kind of a steam train
Yes.
deal.
Right.
So that Maasai tribe, their staple is just blood. Like they just have like some Brahma looking cow and they'll
I see them do that.
and they just drink
Drain
that.
the blood and
they
don't
put
kill
it,
them.
And a lot of times just put it in the milk and then that's what they have for a meal.
Blood and milk.
Blood and
Hey,
milk.
they go out to kill this thing, and they go. It doesn't actually show how they get
And it's
it.
based on a
hemmed
true
up.
story.
Yeah,
Like,
I
actually
read the
happened.
real book on it also. it was even more impressive than the movie.
I bet so.
And
Kind of like Swords of Lightning.
yes. So then we get it hemmed up, and they've gotten it. They go after the ones that are killing stock or killing people. So it's actually not a weak one.
Yes.
And they're around it in a circle, and it's coming at them. So they run in with the spear and get the lion to come at them and hit them. And the shield is just to keep them from getting themselves drugged
I
down.
mean, it's like a rawhide shield.
Yes, yes, because they're 6 foot tall.
It's like a Rubbermaid trash can handle and going into a war zone. I got my shield.
The guy runs in there and gets them to attack him. Then the other one comes in and throws a spear.
Him, yep.
And when they're getting after this lion and spear, it stands on its hind legs, and those men are huge.
They're big guys.
Tall, way over 6. And when that thing stands on its hind legs, it's like double their height.
Geez.
I mean, it probably isn't quite double, but it's not even close to how much
they're
bigger.
bigger than those tigers.
For sure.
We just
Yeah,
saw.
they're bigger.
That didn't look like a little guy.
No.
No, that's an.
And then
6
when
foot
it's
guy.
in the air, they get it with the spears, and they kill that thing with the. It is.
Just a death wish.
They're so tough, and they're barefoot.
I can't hardly walk across the driveway barefooted.
I think that may be one of the most amazing groups of people that I've ever seen as a
I
whole.
wonder if there's still
That's still
a tribe
yes, they are.
today.
Yep,
Wow.
they are.
That's
It's
impressive.
because when I was looking it all up, that was old footage from way back then. But it had them all the way to now, which
Impressive.
now was 10, 15 years ago, I don't know, whatever it was. But holy man, you talk about men.
Yeah. No.
Woo. Yeah. No gender confusion. Out there.
You're
at
going
that
to get us
place.
flagged again.
Dang it. What'd I say? On a bender?
On a bed, yeah.
So, what would anything get after the cattle?
No, not really. So the biggest thing would be that the jackals and stuff like that, just like coyotes
Calves,
here, they
after
would
the
go
calves.
eat. Yeah, as they're calving, they would start eating the cow while she's giving birth.
But the Bramers are pretty good at running them off.
Yeah, they are.
Good mothers are,
They are very aggressive mothers. Yes.
yeah.
But still, once they're giving birth, they eventually get weak getting up and down trying to give birth. That they were still a loss with those, because those jackals, there's a lot of them. Like one
Yeah.
would be grabbing here, and she'll
One's
try to
on the
fight
head,
them.
and one's on-
They're
yeah,
just
yeah.
everywhere.
That's like Dewey Brown, it's my brother-in-law's uncle or something. Anyhow, a friend of the family when we were young, raised on the desert, and was saying something about to my dad. They were talking about cows keeping coyotes off and stuff, and he says, "Well, do them things out there get them when they lay down to calve?" He said, "Lay down to calve?"
What kind of soft cattle do you raise?
Yeah, they calve standing up. It was mountain lions, I think. And so there was this place, this ranch, this piece of ground by this development, and the guy had it, put these cows, got cheap, put these cows out there. Dogs killed over half of the
Oh,
calves.
jeez.
So he tries it again, cheap, kills over half the calves. It's like, I've had enough of that. My dad had something to do with it, and he got some cows from out there. I'm not sure if they were from Dewey or not. They lost no calves.
All
They
the
killed
mama-
the dogs.
Wow.
That was the end of that problem.
It's amazing what they can adapt to.
That's right. That's what they have to adapt. And so that's why I think I love the Bramer cattle here, especially the F1s, the crossbreds and stuff, because they're such good mothers. You don't have to worry about it. Well, I think it's because they're coming from Africa where they had to fight
Fend
everything off all
Even
the
the
time.
owners.
Yeah.
No, they are aggressive cattle. I don't know if you've ever calved any of those out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't calve stuff out. They calve them out.
Okay. Yeah.
But when you go touch them, you know the mama's there.
And he brands them about a year and a half later.
After they're separated.
Yeah. No. But no, so we use those Noitgedachts for stuff like that. Endurance racing, they're actually known for low heart rate. So a lot of them actually went into the endurance racing and things like that. And
how did they hold up against Arabs?
actually really well.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because of that low, what did they call that? A standing heart rate? Trying to remember what it was called, but a resting heart rate, that's what it was called. So they have a really low resting heart rate. So when you get to those checkpoints, even when they are working, the heart rate would still be low enough that the vets would send them through. Because that's what the main thing about endurance racing is. Once that heart rate gets above a certain point, they make you wait until that heart rates get below. And that's when you fall behind and lose the race.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have several checkpoints, and then just for the safety of the horse and stuff like that. But if you have a horse with a really low resting heart rate, so even when they get worked hard, it'll still be below whatever that was, the line that they hold you back on.
So what did those pay to win?
Russell, I can't remember.
I mean, did they pay?
They did pay. They had big sponsors just like this. It was a big, so you qualify for obviously the bigger races and stuff like that. And that's where the big one was. There was a couple of small ones in our region, and I want to say it paid a couple of thousand to win, those smaller regional ones. But then, yes, when you go to, I think the big one was called 40 Smith or something like that. That's where the town that it was based out of. And so there, I want to say the pot was quite a bit bigger, but I would lie to you if I tell you what it was.
Did any of the monkeys eat the cattle or the sheep?
Not as far as
The
I know.
baboons?
What about, how far were you guys traveling to go to competitions and exhibitions?
So
These
lucky enough, the biggest show facilities would be in Pretoria, Johannesburg, so 2
Couple
hours
hours.
for us. But then Cape Town, all those areas had shows too, and that would be 10 hours.
But
or
he
so.
what was he traveling out of the country for anything? Or
No,
they-
he never did. His son did though, but he never did.
What'd you travel in?
So they had a 2-horse bumper pull trailer, but then the big rig was one that he designed and stuff, and I would consider it like almost a open stock horse trailer that he kind of had a welder weld up there, and it could take 10 horses. The first trip, the first maiden voyage with this thing, we flipped it with 10 horses on it.
Oh,
They had him sitting off the axle so far that when those horses shifted around this turn, that whole trailer just started leaning, and then they got the axles lowered and got all that, and then it was fine after that. But I remember I was probably 12 at this time, and those horses just flung out. Luckily, it was at a stop sign, and we were going 10 miles an hour, just leaving from a stop sign, and that trailer just rocked and flipped over. And all the horses were fine. Nothing got hurt. But
oh, jeez.
I'm happy it happened there. It happened about 3 miles from the homestead.
Ugh.
So maiden voyage was not very good.
Back to the drawing board.
By God, Woodrow, but it's a bad start.
Yep.
Yowzer.
Dang it. I knew this was going to work. We should put wheels on the top.
Looked like that video we watched from Sing 2 with that lizard where she catches, she keeps her from tipping over, but letting her eye roll on the floor.
I've watched that movie a million times. I could probably.
I pulled that up for him because we come by. We were pulling back in here from going to get ice, and here's Jeff Mixon on this little tiny golf cart with his dad and daughter on the other side of it. And I'm
Just
like, dude,
like it.
that looks just
Let's sing too.
looks like Mina driving that floor sweeper. Mustache and all.
That's right.
Tell who's got young kids around
Yeah,
here.
that
Yeah.
and Trolls. Trolls and Sing. Oh. It's
Yeah, the trolls and sing. Yeah, the love trolls. You know what we're talking about.
I kind of know trolls.
Troll. Well, I'm thinking of the
seen
troll. No, I'm
Sing
sorry.
Along,
I'm
but
thinking
they're
about the
little-
trolls in Frozen. Sorry.
Oh,
That'd be
no.
different.
There's
No,
a
there's a
troll in
movie called
Frozen?
Trolls.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It's all the bright colors and the
Yeah, it's
singing.
like
that
Haley Solom.
Madison loves it.
It's like Haley Solom dressed up as one. She took her hair and
Yes.
stuck it up and sprinkled.
I think even when we were kids, there were
Oh,
toys
the little
out there,
troll
the
dolls.
colorful
Yeah,
hair.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Put them on the end of your pencil.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of that yet.
Well,
You will.
yeah, you got all ahead of you.
We've been working on How to Train Your Dragon. There's 3 parts of that. That's pretty
That's
good.
actually a really
I
good
really
show.
enjoy
I could
that.
watch the heck out of that.
Toothless.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be
One
your
of my
favorite.
favorites.
But something cool about that breed before I forget it. So their deal, they take all their year or weanling stallions, all the breeders, the stallions that they want to keep intact, and they would send them to a central location to grow up together for 2 years. Same condition. So they get the same food, everything. Then myself, I was 14 when the first time they invited me to go with these other older trainers. There would be about 8 to 10 of us get invited, and then we go start all these colts during my summer break, and we would spend 30 days, well, it was 45 days on them, and get them all going riding, and then they would bring in the judges, the Nooitgedacht judges, and they would come evaluate them on everything from conformation, and then we fill out form after form about temperament, trainability, all those things. And then we would actually ride these horses for them, and they would get judged on their gait and all that. And the top 10% were allowed to stay stallions. The rest had to be cut. So if you wanted to register
That sounds
your,
like a great idea.
yeah, if
That's
you wanted to register
phenomenal.
them as a stallion for that breed, they had to pass
How
this
many
test.
trainers were involved?
There was only usually about 10.
How many horses?
So that's a fair bit of a claim for a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, no, I was very lucky to be able to do that. But again, it was because of this. Kivit was such an influential trainer in that part of the world.
Wow.
First time I smelled marijuana and all that good stuff was on those trips. Just a rural kid thought some alfalfa was burning somewhere, right?
And it was trainers.
Yeah.
Can we stop and get some Cheetos?
Is there a skunk
But I
in here?
still
Why did
think-
EJ come home with 4 cases of Cheetos and a pallet of vanilla wafers?
Was marijuana legal there?
Yeah, I don't think anybody cared back there. I don't think it was a banned substance.
Did
It
they
was a
grow
taboo substance, I would call it that. Like the respected public wouldn't be smoking marijuana. They called it papagaaisla, which roughly translate into parrot salad would be the rough translation.
Parrot salad.
Yep. Papagaaisla.
Try that
Fun
one.
word.
Yeah.
That's a fun word.
Give it to me one more time.
Papagaaisla.
Oh,
Papa Highsly.
There you
Papa
go.
High
See?
Sly.
That reminds me of Oak Ridge Boys. Papa, mow, mow.
Maybe that's what they were
That's
trying
what they
to
were
say.
smoking there, huh?
They were trying to say it.
Papa Sly.
There you go. But no, so that's what we did for that 45 days, and they would castrate the rest of them.
That.
And so only the cream of the
So
crop
how
found.
did they keep their bloodlines?
So every breeder was only allowed, I believe, to send their top prospect. And so they would actually open, I think then they would open 25, say there was, and I'm using simple math here, 8 nooit gedacht stallions that made the cut. Then they would actually bring 2 outside stallions from a different breed that would have to get approved by the same judges. Usually it was thoroughbred or something like that, or some kind of warm blood that they would actually also give papers to. And you would have to breed that to your nooit gedacht mares. And I can't remember how they did that. But those foals weren't fully registered until it was the second generation, something like that. But that's how they would bring new bloodlines.
New blood and maybe a little more size, or
yeah, whatever the weakness was at that moment that they felt like, hey, our breed needed more size or whatever it was, they would bring that kind of breed into. And as far as I know,
was that a government-run deal?
Nope. No, it started with a government deal way back when, but then took off privately.
Through like an association.
Yeah, just kind of farmers took over after that. Yep.
Really?
I'll be darned.
It's a very neat, and a great group of people that love horses.
That is cool.
So, I hate to miss anything over there. Did the cattle get snake bit?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, very much?
Yeah,
or?
quite often. Like it's
Did
something
it kill
I
'em?
think every farmer there kind of had an acceptable loss to snake that they, whatever it was, maybe at 2% or whatever, but they expected a certain amount of loss for the snakes.
That's a lot of snake biting
No,
because
it
cattle
is.
don't die easy.
No, but the snakes there are. So we have the rattlesnake here is probably the most poisonous one that I know of, right? Some of those snakes there are that on steroids.
2 steps.
Like that.
2
And
steps
that'll
and
kill
you're
you
dead.
right now.
Did you have the taipan there?
No, so the deadliest one was like a green mamba, I think is what it was
Mamba.
called. Yes, the green mamba. And it was like a tree snake, so it would fall down.
Oh,
from
lucky.
trees and-
Coming from above.
So lucky. Don't walk around, look where you're going.
Like drop
look
bears.
Up. Yeah.
Even worse than the drop bears, probably.
Yes. But no.
Well, were they by you? Did
yeah,
you have a lot of trees?
No.
Well, you had enough
no.
to get behind for the hippo.
Yeah, so that was more at where my grandparents lived. So yes, there was a lot more trees in that tropical area where they lived. But where we lived was flat, a lot of farm ground, not a lot of hills.
Did the farming help keep the snakes run out?
Yes. So all that.
Oh, it
kinda
would have
helped
been
with
fun
all that.
picking bananas with all the.
The snakes and stuff around. Yeah, I
Are you
wouldn't have
sure
wanted to-
monkeys don't eat snakes?
I don't. I know they kill them. I don't think they eat them, but I might be wrong.
Well, I
Again,
can't
I
find any
wonder
videos
what's-
of guineas killing snakes either. They tell me that. But
Well, they run them off
We
more
had
than
a
they kill
lot of
them.
guineas.
We had them,
We hunted a lot of
and
guineas.
I remember
just for-
being little bitty, and them guineas throwing a fit just out in front of the house, and they didn't kill him, but they circled him up and were around him, and
Oh.
then like my mom
Ran
went
him
out and
off.
killed him or whatever, but they're more of a alarm.
Yeah, let you know
Then
they're
a-
there,
snake baiters.
and they are loud.
I wonder what it'd like to see a monkey and a snake fight. Look it up, because
Something-
one of the most incredible things was on Disney or Marlin Perkins was a jaguar and a python,
Oh wow!
and that fight went on for a minute.
Yeah,
And
I
the
would
python
imagine so.
almost won.
So the jaguar ended up.
The
winning?
jaguar
Wow.
wound up winning, but the python got him in the water and almost got him because he got around a front leg,
And just
and
wrapped.
pulled him in, and the jaguar finally wore him out and got
Pulled
him out. Yeah,
Wow.
but it was huge. You don't see that
Yeah.
stuff so much
No, you
anymore.
don't.
but it was just nature filming stuff.
Is that a monkey eating a snake or what?
It won't play on the big screen though. Sorry, bugger.
Darn it.
Well,
So
like,
something cool we did as kids and young guys over there is go porcupine hunting.
really?
So the porcupines there, when they pull their quails over
Holy
their back,
mackerel.
stand literally that tall.
3 foot.
Yeah, like
2.5
two and a
foot.
half foot. When they pull those quails over their top, so we would take golf clubs, and some of the natives would actually have, I don't know, parts, I would say just off a tree, but it'd have this root at the end that's kind of like a ball, rounded ball,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what they would use. And you would go spotlight them at night, so it would be 10 of us in the back of a truck, and one guy with a spotlight driving, and you would spot them, and you would jump off these pickup trucks running as fast as you can. As they're running away, and you got your time, you got pretty good at this, so you would run full speed, and when you hit that porcupine on the head, you better
With
be
what?
with a golf club.
Gee.
When you hit it on the head, you better be jumping at that point to at least clear that much, because they would stop immediately and like pull those quails over their head, and that's their defense mechanism where things
So
could
how
run
far
into-
can they shoot them?
I
they
think
shoot 'em
that's
or
a
not?
myth. I
That's-
never saw them shoot them.
That's just on sync.
Yeah. I've never seen them shoot anything like that. It's usually as a defense mechanism, pull it over my body, something runs into me. So you run off, you feel something, but in any way, you would hit them and jump. And there was a couple of times where I didn't jump fast enough or quick enough and then not high enough and would get them in you, and that they would actually cut them out. Because they're kind of like barbed where
Right.
once they go in.
We had a dog get a bunch in his
Yes.
nose in Nebraska one time, but I don't think they were that big. But
No, everything
Would it
one I've
get
seen here are
infected?
maybe that long, the quail. Like they're not very long quails.
Like
Yeah,
a foot.
right.
I mean, these are probably, the quails would be 12 to 16 inches. Like they would
Gee,
be long
many
quails.
Whoa.
yeah, no, the quills that we pulled out of that dog were probably so long.
And the
Six,
porcupines are
probably
big
4 or 5
enough. Like
inches,
if you
yeah.
would skin them, they would have like a bacon on them. Like they were big, big porcupines.
Were they good to eat?
Yes, they were really good to eat.
Oh, really?
We
How you
just
cook
usually
that?
gave it to all the natives and stuff, but I've had it several times. They just
fry
usually
'em
grill
or-
it and fry
oh,
it.
grill
yes.
it.
They do it both ways. They fry it or grill it, and obviously the bacon part of it would just be in a skillet and fry it up, and really good.
Was there much meat?
Yes, no, they were big. I would say as far as meat goes, what would I compare it with?
Bacon.
No, I mean,
The
the bacon
size-wise-
part, was it real fatty or real
Yes.
meaty?
Fatty.
Oh.
Fatty. Very fatty.
Hey, the monkey snake fight is unbelievable.
I haven't seen it.
Well, the monkey is in front of him and he like kind of turns his back and sticks his hind leg out there and just keeps baiting the snake
Baits them into it.
to bite at his leg and then jerks it. I mean, snakes is fast. It's crazy. He's messing with him and then he runs around him and slaps him. Holy mackerel. That's pretty dangerous.
Google monkey versus snake if you want to know what Russell's watching right now.
That's hard to believe.
Well, we're
Hey.
about 2 hours in. We haven't talked anything
Hey.
about cow horses.
Hey, did you ever see the one where they used the monkeys to catch the pigs? Did they do that there at all?
Yes, they do.
Oh,
The
snap.
greatest, I'm telling you, some of the greatest videos.
Where they ride them and jump on their backs.
Yes. They throw the monkey on the pig.
And it
and
wears
ride
it
it.
down. It looks like a jockey riding a pig, like, and wears it
It's
out.
unbelievable. Did you see it?
No, I never did get. I've seen that videos and stuff
Yeah.
you're talking about. That's
That
pretty cool
is
to watch.
unbelievable. Them monkeys get it on. Sometimes they'll fall off and jump right back on. I mean, they're having a blast. It looks like
They're
it would be
loving
so fun.
No, they're absolutely loving it. You could tell.
Wild hogs.
Mm-hmm.
I need a monkey. We go catch.
They are
some,
incredibly
We go
smart,
catch some
though.
You
wild
can just throw
hogs.
Ace at a hog.
Like, have you guys?
Well,
ever
I
seen-
can't pick him up no more. So damn big.
Colt can.
I'm afraid Ace would throw me. And I got my fingernails cut. I don't think I could hold on.
Have you guys seen the movie called "The Gods Must Be Crazy"?
Yes.
It's one of the best movies you could ever watch. You should
I
watch
remember hearing it, but what was it about?
Well, the storyline is they have this bushman out in the desert, which they're a small African tribe, that a Coke bottle hits him in the head that a guy throws out of an airplane. And then he thinks it's like something the gods lost, and he needs to go find the end of the earth to give this back to the gods. And then his journey leaving his tribe and all the things he sees.
Oh, I haven't watched it. I have seen the title.
Oh, it's a great movie. And there's The Gods Must Be Crazy too, which was what I was coming to. They would actually, those bushmen would take salt and stuff like that and would throw it in like a hole where if the monkey reaches in there or the baboon and tries to grab that. Or
then it's monkey trapped.
Yes, then there's monkey trapped, and they would feed it salt. So they would just let this monkey eat salt and salt and salt, and they would just keep eating it. And then eventually they would go and let this monkey loose. And then where does he take him? Right to the water.
Oh.
Pretty clever.
Nice.
But so that's kind of when you were talking about the monkeys being smart and stuff. They're not that smart if all they need to do is let go of whatever's in their hand.
I have a hard time with that.
Got a little monkey in you.
I got some sympathy. Open your hand. I can't. I haven't stopped him yet. It's like a rein. If they put a rein in a hole and I grabbed it, I would never be able to let go and get out.
Just hold on.
Go find Russell.
Yes.
There he is. So, dang, I had one about the cattle. Do they export the cattle and to who?
So back then, I'm sure the export was a lot different than now, but it was all over the world. A lot up, obviously up just to northern countries in Africa, because the rest of the Africa is not as far along when it comes to technology and farming and all that. So a lot of what gets raised in South Africa feeds the countries up north.
So they finished cattle. They could grow grains and corn, and they did all.
And a lot of the companies, I think Cargill's over there as well. There's a lot of, the biggest feed company there, if I remember, was called Caron. And they had some of the biggest feedlots, like probably 120,000 head feedlots all over the country. And so they do feed out a lot of cattle there, which is pretty good climate to be feeding out cattle.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, it's a very mild.
Yeah,
and
thinking about it now, it's a great country to be feeding cattle in.
So when I was in Australia, they went to Asia a lot.
Oh, really?
But you guys probably...
Not as far as I know. And again, I was kind of a snot-nosed kid. I looked as far as my nose at that point. It was girls and horses, and I didn't care about the rest. So as far as economics and stuff go, I didn't pay much attention to that at that
Just
age.
like Ben Baldus. Girls and horses, didn't pay any attention to Thailand.
No, I wish I could tell you all about the economics and stuff like that, but I just, at the time, didn't have the interest.
Well, I wonder if you could, if you threw a monkey on a cow, how long it would stay on there. Or a sheep. My God, you could take a little monkey and win all the mutton bustings.
Well, there's a lot of guys making money here putting them on a border collie.
I was going to say,
That was when
Yeah, the Laubscher family, I think, did that.
What's that monkey's name? Well, it was probably not the same monkey.
I was going to say, I heard
Wilbur's monkey.
Wilbur's.
There was 1, 2, and 3. There were several of
Spider
them.
monkey. All over your ass like a spider monkey.
All hopped up on Mountain Dew. You're going to break us like wild ponies.
Those kids needed his mom.
Yeah.
Crack. Never hit a kid with an open hand.
Being weak.
I'm raising a bunch of sissies around here.
So we had a gal or a nanny while my mom was working and stuff like that. That would actually feel sorry for us at one point, to where my mom had like this piece of leather that said "Ouch, Mom" attached to this handle that's engraved on it. And
It said what?
Ouch.
"Ouch, Mama."
Ouch, Mama.
Yeah, and tooled into it. And at one point, my youngest brother, for whatever reason, laughed at my mom while she was spanking us with it.
Oh,
That's a bad
And it made her
idea.
so mad. She threw that down and went outside. And at the time, we had this braided hose, garden hose, that she cut several foot off of it and started beating us with it. But then our nanny would hide this from my mom from time to time. And she would get so mad at our nanny that she would hide this. And then she's like, "Okay, ma'am, I'll go get it." And then we would get beat by this garden hose. But if she didn't, I'd probably be in jail.
Oh.
I really would. We would be out of control.
incarcerated
Yes.
or underground.
Always needed it. Never
So,
by accident.
and is she around now?
My mom?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, she's
Yeah.
still
Help with the
kicking
kids?
So my mom and two brothers, my dad passed away actually only 2 years after we got here.
Oh, geez.
Was 47 and just had a stroke and
Oh,
was healthy.
47.
holy mackerel.
Kind
Well,
of a
I made
freak
it
deal.
past up at you two.
But so she's in Iowa, still as tough as nails, and got remarried here a couple of years ago and kind of ranching.
Nice.
Oh, really? Raising mama cows or
Yeah, so
stocking
they're
or-
actually, they do corn and then
and then
calving
raise
out
cattle.
cattle, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Huh. I'll be darned.
Yeah, just outside of Iowa City, Hills, Iowa is kind of the closest town.
How's her English?
Oh, not that great. I was just telling somebody the other day that there should be a certain age. We should get to a certain age where they take social media away from us.
They should. I'm with you. It is not the kids as bad. The older ones
Oh
are
my
worse.
gosh, like everything that
You should have to be 28 and not over 50.
something like that gap there. Because that Facebook and stuff, she would send me stuff like the end of the world's coming. You better Mom, it's not real. It's fake news.
Right.
The internet never lies.
That is not. That is so true. But the older people and the Facebook stuff.
How old are you? Because I think that
Older.
age
He's
limit should
approaching
be
that.
right under your age.
That gives us a
I don't
guideline.
touch it. I don't touch it. They can't bait me in.
Perfect.
Back to my flip phone. Since
I
got
just
this
upgraded
toothpaste
phones. I
for-
almost went back to the flip when I upgraded.
Why didn't you? Screen?
Yeah.
Because you're older and you can't see it.
No, and I know that my eyes are fine because I could read the draw sheet for the herd work the other day here when nobody else could.
I
There
could
you
have
go.
read it.
As long as EJ was holding it.
So, when you, after you get done going through the stallions and you pick the top ones and they take them home, then what?
Well, obviously, those are the stallions that got registered, and then the other breeders would come to your stallions if they didn't have one that's already registered, and then
Was there any
it was
black
all-
market stallions? Did anybody not send off something and keep it back?
Well,
You
I'm
had to
sure
have it
there's-
registered,
Yeah,
though.
you have to have it registered to get
Okay.
it. So,
So is it live cover?
all live cover, and I think that's another good thing. So you couldn't do the embryo transfer. You have to do well, it didn't have to be live color, but it had to be on site. So you could collect the stallion, but that mare had to be on the premises getting bred.
But They would probably go on and compete with them.
Yes, those stallions
And then-
would go and compete.
and that would be
they
mostly-
built their record up, and
Mostly either endurance or dressage.
dressage. Yes.
Yep, and that was about it.
Yep.
No horse racing?
No. So really, the quarter horses and thoroughbreds kind of got that market cornered.
And you guys didn't have it over there.
No, well, they started to after I left. I think there was a lot of thoroughbreds were there because of the dressage. It's a huge influence with the warm bloods and stuff like that. But the quarter horses weren't that popular. I don't know. I might have only seen 2 quarter horses growing up. And now, actually, I think it's really exploded because reining has become a big thing there, is what I was told.
Could say that name, Chris? Those horses?
Yeah.
The Nooit Gedacht?
The Nooit Gedacht. Could they stop?
Nooit
Yes, they can.
Nooit Gedacht?
Yes.
No
They
kidding.
actually have a really nice little stop, good-footed, very sure-footed horses. They don't necessarily, I think most of the bloodlines, there was a handful of bloodlines that would have a really nice rear end, but that's where that breed's a little weak. They needed some quarter, and I think they have actually last few years brought in some quarter horse bloodlines to try and get the hindquarters a little stronger.
Can you imagine a good-minded stopping new bloodline?
Yeah, we should maybe import some of this.
That's Nooit Gedacht.
No, they're really good horses.
Much cow to them?
Yes, no, they're great with cattle. Like that's kind of what I grew up and not knowing how to really get one on a cow. They were so naturally about it. When you're sorting and stuff cattle, they would get left and right with that cow with me not knowing anything about it.
Huh.
I'm trying to think of what the letters would be. The Cowhorse, C, F, C, Nooit Gedacht, CFCNA. We could have the Cowhorse Full Contact Nooit Gedacht Association. Import these rascals over here, cross
You got it
them.
figured out that your language is on point.
He's a linguist. He's my speech therapist.
Yes, he is.
I've been a week trying to pronounce the name of the girl in the cryo
Nooit
booth.
Gedacht. What is it?
Don't know.
Not Liberty and Destiny.
Not Liberty. Hey, this is no kidding, people. This is no kidding. Me and Tyler Merrill go to Brandon at Russell's the other day, and EJ's whole crew's there. EJ's not there, but EJ's got 2 assistants and 2 teenage boys, and I don't know who else is on EJ's camp that's there. I walk in, these 2 girls are filling up syringes and getting stuff ready, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Chris." And she's like, "I'm Liberty." "Hi, I'm Chris." "I'm Destiny." I'm like, "You got to be kidding me right now." I'm like, we've brought strippers to the Brandon.
It is Russell's place.
It is Russell's place. I'm like, we got Joe Exotic next door, and we got strippers filling the syringes for crying out loud. I'm like, into the main stage.
And little Joe Exotic was there
And little Joe Exotic. Yep.
with his mullet
Oh, Colin, yeah.
from EJ's.
Right.
Colin was there.
Yep. Curly Colin.
I was in Lubbock horse showing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. So you, God, I hate to miss anything on the monkeys.
I know. I
and
just
the
like, I
snakes.
mean,
What is your infatuation with these monkeys?
Well, I haven't had any.
never been around them.
Yeah, there could be a lot of uses for them.
Never been chased.
So were the
Can you-
birds? There
can
were
you
a lot
train
of
them to do
hawks?
stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, go get stuff off the top shelf.
Right. How trainable are these monkeys?
Yeah, how trainable are they?
I never did train one. I have trained a couple of zebras, though.
Trained them to kill. Are you joking?
Nope.
How did that go?
I thought they were
I heard they
non-domesticatable.
were tough.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
so
so
they were
are
really,
lions.
They were really, really tough.
They were tough.
So we only had 2 of them. This was actually not long before I came over. And I don't know, it was probably only 90 days or so. And I got about as far as getting one ride around for about 4 days. Like if you would get on one of our colts, ride them around for 4 days, that's what they felt like in 90 days. They
What?
were hard to keep anything on. They have no
I was going to
withers,
say no withers.
no
huh?
withers
They're-
whatsoever.
Well, I mean, similar to like a small donkey.
Yes.
Or a small
They're not
mule.
very big. They're not very big.
Did you have to
but
use a
just round.
crooper? Oh my Lord! And English.
Yeah, English saddle. All my colts got started in an English saddle. I hit the ground a lot.
Did the zebra buck?
They do, but they're not athletic enough to really get with it.
Just like
They're
get
too
out from
fat,
under you?
and
They're-
I mean, they are.
I've heard they're kind
fat.
of mean, like strike and
So yeah,
bite.
that's the biggest thing is their kick and bite, and like they would try to reach around there. And all this was happening in a round pen. If they would ever get an open country, then you couldn't even chase them back to the place you started them. They were stubborn, like you said, a mule or donkey when they're stubborn.
Boy, they look like they'd be strong in the neck too.
Oh, just there's nothing. And like all you have over there is snaffles. Really, there's no bridles or anything like that. That's all.
Well, you
know
could
is
use the
snaffles.
hackamore.
No, there's no hacks. Nothing like that.
He doesn't like hackamores.
Well, I didn't say I didn't like it. I've had very few horses that I felt good in a hackamore with.
And it wasn't black and white striped.
No, they were not black and white striped. But no, it was.
You might make a decent hackamore out of a zebra.
No, you won't.
No, make
No,
a
make the
decent
hackamore.
Oh yeah, yes, you could.
I knew you meant that one. I knew you meant that one.
I would totally be in on that. No, they are stubborn.
Why did you do it?
Well, there was a neighbor that had a couple that they corralled up, and it's like, I don't know what to do with them. And I'm like, man, let me see if I can get them rode. And I had them for about 3 months and gave up on it. I'm like, oh. And they ended up going to like a circus deal because they were gentler than anything else they had. But they claim, I guess, these guys ended up kind of riding them around in the circus eventually. But they were just wasted time is what I did. 3 months of a lot of wasted time.
Did you get kicked?
Oh yeah, I did get kicked and bit, and for hardly any money. Like it was the biggest waste of time.
I had a group of horses one time, and they all bucked and kicked and bit, but dang near 90% of them would paw their headstall off when they got mad.
Oh yeah, they would kind of take both feet.
Yes, put both feet and try to paw their. I'm telling you, you ever go check my snaffles, and that throat latch is tight.
Yeah, no.
You lose a headstall on one of them things while you're up in the middle, and that ain't no fun.
No.
You don't want to get off, and you don't want to be there.
And these things, now that I think about it, they lay down a lot too. Once they get mad and nothing worked, they would just go lay down. And you would beat on them a little bit. And
They'll stay there. I had one of those would throw himself down. Couldn't get at the hitching rack. Ugh.
yeah,
That was a horrible creature.
no, when they give up like that, you're like, all I wanted you to do is at least go forward instead of reaching around for your foot the whole time.
So you didn't get him started on a cow.
No, like I said, we were going around like your third ride or fourth ride on a colt. That's about it.
No zebra class. Hey, maybe I could win that one.
It's the reason nobody went and ride a zebra around Africa. If they could, they would be everywhere.
would have.
Every tribe would ride a zebra.
That's right. So that's something to think about. They used elephants,
Yeah.
but not
So
zebras.
yeah, oh yeah. So elephants
there's
are
how much
easier to train.
There's your
What
reason.
about
Right
that?
there.
Did you ever see any of that?
Riding elephants?
Yeah.
I went on a few safaris, elephant back, and that's really cool where you get so close to those wild animals being on an elephant. Even like we got really close to leopards and stuff like that, which was a little uncomfortable, but they didn't seem threatened by the elephants or anything like that. So they left.
What were
they
the
did-
Now,
elephants
how do you
like?
steer the elephant?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. So there was you were kind of riding the back. I couldn't think
Up
of
on
right.
the back?
Yeah, so you're on the back, but the guy that
Oh, they
steers
were-
them are up in front of you, so you're sitting behind them. So
Oh,
you're
you're
kind of
just
second
that.
seat. You're second seat. You're not the one steering. And how did they? He had like I think he had a crop, if I remember right, that he would just tap around on.
They
But
must be.
It was like a elephant train that we were on. Like you would just follow the one in front of you, and you would go through the
Like a
safari.
trail ride deal.
Like, and so everything is slow, but it was cool. I think he
How-
just tapped them around left and right, if I remember right, with some kind of crop.
They must be incredible animals to be able to steer them around with a crop. And they're that big. So did
Oh,
that
they're
guy like
huge.
sit with this? Did he just sit on their neck?
Yeah, so he's kind of got the ears over him,
Over his-
and then you got the seat behind him.
They look like they would be so phenomenal
Like
to
you
me.
were riding the female.
But I mean,
Dog
they
position.
can gallop también, huh? They gallop along there.
We didn't gallop. We just walked.
Yeah, it's like
but no,
a trail
elephants
ride.
can scoot. So my dad was telling me stories about him in the military, because you were drafted at 18, and so they would-
Mandatory
Yes.
service. How long?
2 years, I believe, is what it was. And so what they did, they would go to feed the natives that were starving. They would go out and shoot elephants and stuff like that. And again, we had albums full of pictures of him in the military. And they were so far up north that, yes, they're military, but it's him and his military friends. And it's pretty much they run that part of the jungle. And so they screwed around a lot. And they were chased, pictures of them being chased by these elephants and stuff like that. The stories they told about them being up in North Africa in the military was kind of entertaining.
Yeah, I bet.
Really, really entertaining. They would hang all that meat up in those trees to where they had pictures in these helicopters coming down where they're taking these pictures, and it looked like a red blanket where all that elephant meat's hung in the trees.
Well, I'll bet the monkeys tried to come and get it.
Oh, I'm sure they probably did, but
And the cats. Holy mackerel. I mean, just the whole, like, even when you just go
That would
camping
be
in
like
the mountains.
chumming the water and swimming in it.
That's, like, you go, we
but
even
they
just.
call it biltong when it all dries, so then it's preserved. So you got it in salt and I'm assuming pepper, and they just hang these big chunks of meat and they cure it.
Oh,
like that.
and they
Yeah.
were they were
Biltong, that's
jerky
like-
in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just making jerky.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, how long does it take to skin an elephant? But even then, the other part of it is how great they are trained. But I mean, they're no cakewalk too. They kill just under what a hippo kills.
No, so elephants are super dangerous. So even in the
The
Kruger
bad
National
ones
Park and
anyways.
stuff like that, we were in vehicles where we were charged, and you could see them just totaling vehicles, where these elephants would go after a vehicle and totally destroy that vehicle. They end up sitting on it pretty much.
Yeah, they said that. I watched some on that. The ones that like killing people would get to where they would come and knock on the door with their trunk. And it seems like India was where they had the most trouble. Knock on the door, and the people would open it and pull them
Grab
out and
'em.
crush them.
Oh, geez.
They mostly
Come
crushed
on.
them.
As far
That
as I know,
sounds like
that's
a
not.
that sounds like a sci-fi
I
movie.
saw it.
Wow, I didn't know of anything like that,
That might have
happening
just
in
been
Africa.
an
But
occasional.
yeah,
Not every elephant's that smart. Just that one that didn't make it. But Dane sure hunt people.
Wow.
Like when they went rogue, they hunted them. But there was something went wrong with them. They had
I think
they
this
were
was a
usually
horror movie that came
males,
out.
and it was mating season, and they kind of
geez.
got sounds a little bit like the hippo deal.
yeah,
Like
or
your
like
grandpa tried to tell you.
yeah, not to do.
So how would they train? Well, I mean, would they get these elephants as calves and train them?
I don't know, Chris.
You never saw
I
any of
never
that.
was any part of that. Like that to me, that was like an insane thing to ride an animal to, and I'm from South Africa, so to comprehend how they got those things trained, I don't know. No, I've rode ostriches and things like that more often than elephants, but
This is just now coming up. I mean, we're 2 hours and 22 minutes, and we're just now talking about
See, I
riding
told
ostriches.
you we weren't ready to move yet.
No.
What was it like with an ostrich?
so they go out with these long curved canes, and they would just pull their head down. And when you have their head down, they're paralyzed because all their defenses is kicking forward. So they're worried about kicking themselves when their head's down there, and then they just pull a sock over their head, and then they're good. You hop on and steer them like a joystick.
Steer them like a joystick.
A
you just
grown?
throw the-
You're like a grown one, not
Yeah,
trained.
no, grown.
You can just go catch it.
No, so they have to be corralled. Like, so these things run, and then
But I mean,
really
they're not
fast.
trained.
No, they're not trained to ride or anything. No, this is just kind of hopping on one.
Holy
like Avatar,
mackerel.
and your dragon or
be
whatever.
so
But this
fun.
is not common either, so it's not something that people just go do. It's kind of like one
Would
of those
be.
daredevil things you go do is when you're young and stupid, because they are dangerous. Like their nail and stuff can
Yeah,
just
they got a leg on them.
like they've killed a lot of folks too.
Like a velociraptor.
Yeah, like they got that 3-toe and the 1 toe is really long.
Why did you ride it? No, I mean,
why do you
where?
do a lot of
No,
stupid
what?
things?
How did it? Did you guys just go catch them?
So I had a friend that lived a little bit south of us that had some that they kind of every now and then would had to get corralled up to go get their cattle and stuff rounded up because they would kind of run with them. And every time they're corralled up, we're like, we should try and go ride them. And so then their natives actually told us that we could. And so they're the ones that showed us how to do this. And then after that, for about 2 or 3 years before I came over, we actually did that. Every time they gathered their cattle, we would ride these 3 ostriches.
Did anyone tame an ostrich? Like get a young one and?
Not that I know of. There was a lot of ostrich breeders and stuff like that, because they would sell the egg shells and stuff. Like they would paint them. The natives would paint them, and they would get shipped all over the world. So they would actually breed them.
How long does it take to eat an ostrich egg? Like how big is that?
It's a cupful, according to Fear Factor. I watched him break one into
I was
a
gonna
cup
say
at Fear Factor. one
it's
time.
bigger than what it'll fill
Yeah.
that.
It'd
Like
probably-
probably that right there. Yep, it'll fill that.
That's a lot of egg.
20
One
ounces.
Yeah, one egg.
No, more than that.
Like it's a
30.
big. So the egg is probably yay big.
Big as a football.
About the
Yeah.
size of your head.
Yeah, fatter
Kind
than
of
a
shape,
football.
kind of
though.
shaped the same as your head too.
There you go.
I was so waiting. So, how thick is the shell?
I bet at least 1/8 of an inch.
Oh man.
They're thick. That's why, like, they actually use like a drill bit to just kind of hollow it and then drain it, so you don't break the rest of it.
Did they eat ostrich eggs a lot?
Yeah. It's fairly common.
But they don't. How often do they lay them? Is it like a chicken all the time, or just now and then?
I don't know.
Well, they obviously didn't have ostrich egg farms. Ostrich?
No, it's-
Ostrich.
I've had ostrich egg, and it doesn't taste like a regular.
Oh, that's why I
egg.
was wondering. Is it rich or?
What I can remember of the taste was it just wasn't good. I couldn't even tell you
Oh.
what it tasted like. It just wasn't any good. I've tried it several times. Like even on a hunting trip, a guy brought some out and like cooked them right there. I think I took 2 bites and it just was no good.
Huh.
Eat some Tony's Creole seasoning on there.
How
Yes.
did you?
This episode
What
brought
about
to you
when-
by
Danos.
So, how did you make the ostrich go?
So once you pull the sock off, then they kind of go.
They go.
What if they just turn around and peck you?
No, you kind of have them like.
You got to
Yeah,
not
and
let go
they're
of
not
their
very
neck.
strong
Oh,
on their
the
neck.
neck.
Like you can kind of manipulate that. Then like you go, and it's not a you better be over here for a while before this thing starts going to the right. You kind of have to pull them over. Then and a few seconds later you start turning that way.
Where was it? There's somewhere I seen a video of horse trainers riding ostriches on a racetrack.
And that is a
Yeah.
thing. Like people
I
did
saw
race
that.
them.
I've seen the races.
Oh, it's at the Vistadores. That's where I seen it.
Really?
Yep, not that long ago. Yep.
I bet
They-
that ended well.
Well, it's pretty good. Yeah, they haul them all over. My uncle actually, when he had they had a traveling petting zoo up in Nickerson, Kansas.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Hendricks petting zoo, and they would travel around, and they didn't like the petting zoo deal. They'd do pig races, and they had ostrich races, and they had giraffes and camels and all this
Well, that's
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. 'Cause, I mean, they travel around, did all the fairs and stuff like that, and they do like
you
live
ride any of
nativities.
them?
No, I never rode any, but the
Should have rode that camel. That's actually cool.
yeah,
Really?
I bet it's good. Yeah, I mean,
'Cause
I've
it's usually
I've
some
pet
good
them.
wrecks when they get up. They kind of flung you back and forth, and I want to say 1 out of every 2 people ride it get fall off right there as they get up.
Really?
Yep.
Were you on a 2-hump camel or a 1-hump camel?
2-hump camel. Like they do. They kind of.
So is there a saddle? Or you just sit between the humps?
No, they got them saddled, but they do rock you.
You sit on top of the hump, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And on a 2-hump camel, you put two
people on
Yeah.
it. Yep.
How in the...
Have you never been to a county fair?
I'm not with a camel. How did they keep the saddle on the hump?
Like they got it strapped with like a cinch-like deal, but they also have it around the hump. What I remember at these county fairs, it's a saddle that you sit up top, and then
It's
goes
like kind of like a basket almost.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like I maybe did ride
like
one time when I was little, but I
I
don't.
bet you did. It's not that uncommon.
So
Yeah.
with a peg to put your feet on? What do you put your...
I can't remember how all this worked, Russell.
Did they spit at you?
No, and I rode the camel in the United States. It wasn't something
Yeah.
I did there.
Well, there's
We
one
didn't
thing.
have any camels in South Africa.
They're
Oh, you
north
didn't
Af-
have none?
Yeah, they're north.
Oh. They actually had them in Australia,
Right.
but they were feral.
Oh, no, we didn't have any. I've heard of guys around here even having camels with their cattle for coyotes and stuff. I guess they chase them off too.
They don't seem that fast.
They're long strided.
Yeah, they do look like they got a stride.
They say they can go forever, though. Huh. What about the giraffes?
Really, the only time I got to be around giraffes is my dad hunted a giraffe and made it all into jerky once.
That was a lot of meat.
A lot of meat. A lot of meat.
It's a lot of neck on a giraffe.
Well, the way they fight, when they sling that head, because I always thought they were so harmless when I was a kid, but
No, they
my
get some
Lord,
force. You could hear that pop.
crack.
It's like an anvil on the end of a rope.
Yeah,
Yes.
it looks crazy. And just being around wild things that are raised in those live or die environments, I would imagine it was huge.
Well, that little break was brought to you by War Horses for Veterans. Don't forget to check out War Horses for Veterans Challenge.
At the NSHA Stock Horse Fraternity in Las Vegas on
August
the
26th.
Yes.
What
Got
time
all
of
our
day is that
friends.
going to take place? We're going to try and make that an evening performance?
Oh,
or
it's an evening performance for
I'm
sure.
excited for that.
can we we might have to put it like in the middle of the world's richest fence work, or are we doing it before? How's that going to work?
I have to look scheduled. Either
We may have to
starts it,
we might have to tentatively.
or it's between the raining and the fence.
I got you. Well,
Or we're back to back there.
And how
I can't
many guys
remember.
are going?
no, it's
No,
one at
we're
a
not
time.
back to back. No, it's in between the
7.
cutting
Cool.
and the fence. That's what it is.
We'll have to watch the
But the
schedule.
cutting's way before.
It's tentatively planned, though. We can move it around
I
as
know,
one,
it's not a
right?
big deal. Not a big deal yet because the entries are still coming in. I mean, coming in.
I can't imagine how big that's going to be, because there's also a qualifier for next
Yeah.
year's run for the million there.
Yeah, I
It's
hope
gonna be
nobody.
huge.
I think we should not mention that. And then me and you just show up.
Oh, we're going to invite
I'll be okay with
DJ?
that. I'm in.
We're going to invite
Totally
about
in.
4
Let's
of our
bleep
favorite
this out.
friends, and everybody else can stay there hind parts at home. Somehow, I think word might get out.
Dang it!
There's a chance.
Ding it again! Foiled again!
Spoiled by spare spurs. Bet you never saw that movie.
No.
4 Eyes and 6 Guns.
Nope.
So boy was
sure
it.
I've seen that one.
Nah, that's another spoofy western that me and my dad used to watch.
I'm gonna have to go watch it.
Four eyes.
Spoiled by spare spurs.
Is that 2 or what's 4 eyes and
That's the name of the movie that spoiled by spare spurs is
Oh.
from. Yeah.
from it?
Yes.
Noted.
Noted.
Black
Yeah.
and white movie? Or?
No. No, it's not black and white. I'm not that old. Just look it. Just look it.
He's just that mature.
walked a hard
He's just
road.
that mature.
It's miles. It's miles, EJ.
Yeah, gravel road.
Did you ever get snake bit?
Nope.
Well, why are you so worried about them?
I've just always been terrified of those snakes. Like, I don't know, just the idea of them creep me out. Are
But
you not scared
monkeys
of
didn't
snakes?
bother you.
No, monkeys don't bother me.
I'm not scared of snakes.
I don't want to hang out with them.
I cracked one's head off one time, but it took me 3 times.
With what?
Himself, like a whip.
Like a
Oh,
puppy.
like,
I
wow.
heard that you could do that, you know?
I've watched
No,
it.
I-
But
will
it
not
makes
be
your
touching
skin
one.
crawl when it's
Nope.
coming behind your neck.
Nope,
Like
I'm not
that
doing
part.
Yeah, my
Making the
my
hair stand
athletic
up on my
ability,
back.
I would wrap that son of a gun around my neck,
Yeah,
and
no,
no way.
That would suck. That would suck so bad. Can you imagine it just going? You two are both.
it. No, not doing it.
And then I stomped one time too, because my dad said that he did once, but he was kind of drunk. And there's one in the road, so they stop in the middle of the night, and he runs out and he's just going to stomp that rattlesnake, and he missed. And he says, when you're in the middle of a rattlesnake and you miss, brother, you get to moving. And it runs in the family.
Yeah, no.
Because I missed on the first step too, and you talk about leave. It does make you leave. I didn't miss the second time.
Them guys at Carroll's used to catch them rascals and like put them in a feed sack and bring them to the house, and then they would skin them and they would eat them. And I'm pretty sure I ate someone. I mean, it's pretty fishy
That's not-
looking.
it's-
It looks
I know
like
this
fish.
is probably a dumb question, but is there a bone or something?
Oh yeah, like the rib bones are there in the backbone. Yeah, it's just like a spine with ribs on
So
it.
you just eat around them.
Well, what I saw of the meat, it was filleted. It looked like a fish. It almost had a bit of a purple hue to it, but it was a very white meat, and it looked like a fish fillet in the refrigerator.
Oh wow, that was a bigger snake than what I had. I mean, it was like you just ate it off of the.
Right. I and like I say, and I never knowingly ate any, but
Oh, you did.
but I ate with them a lot, and so I'm sure I probably had some at some point. but I did see this meat prepared, and I asked, and they're like, "That's that
They fry
rattlesnake."
it?
I didn't see him cook it. It was just, like I say, what I know of what I've been around it and knew what it was. It was just sitting on a plate, looking like a fillet of fish.
Oh, it wasn't for your dinner.
It wasn't prepared. Yeah.
I wouldn't be scared to try it at least.
Oh, I would eat it, no problem. But
I tell you what
That kind of
freaked
stuff
me
doesn't
out.
bother me.
Indiana Jones. I don't know that I really was that scared of snakes until the snake surprise in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That freaked me right out.
well, the one that got me is
I'm
I'm
with ya.
loading up to go to Australia right out of high school. So I'm 18, 17, late 17. And what comes out but Lonesome Dove?
Yep.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
Except for
Yeah,
the stupid
except
river
for
scene.
The stupid
The
river
moccasin.
scene.
When that
right
thing
in
bites him on
side
the
of
face.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. All the way over there, I was worried about it.
I don't know why I'd be scared of
Yep,
crossing a
I'm
river,
opposite.
crossed an ocean.
Oh, the ball of snakes haunted me
Yeah.
all the way over there. But my dad goes out one time cowboying, and there's this kind of crazy guy with him. They're going out, and they come to the snake, and he likes snakes. I don't know what he does with them. He gets off and catches this rattlesnake, takes his picking string, ties it around his neck, takes him over, and ties him to the fence. And when it's like, that is the dumbest. That's never going to work. That's not gonna, yeah, I'll get him when he come back.
We'll get him.
So they go gather all day, and that guy goes back, and he said, and I rode back with that bastard to see. There's no way that snake is tied to
still
that
there.
fence. And that snake was tied to that
Oh,
fence.
wow.
Well, because that's why their head pops off so easy. It's so much bigger than their neck. Well, you would think they could just crawl through it, but their body's too big and their head's too big, and you just
Stuck there.
tied to the tree, tied to the fence. That guy takes him home, and I don't know if he
Let him
sold
home
them.
on his leash. Did he lead him home?
Oh my gosh!
Had him broke the lead.
I'm not saying. That's the
Can you imagine somebody walking down the street with
leading the snake. I can't wait till they bring one
go.
to the damn horse show and run all the dogs off with it. Because some crazy person was leading a cat the other day
Like on a leash?
on a leash.
It's a good cat. None of the cats I've ever been around could be led anywhere.
Well, it didn't like it. I'm thinking
It was
lead,
drug, is what they
lead
said.
might be closer to drug. I saw something else on a leash, and I don't think it was a pig. It was something else.
Hey,
Like
don't trash talk pigs. I got that
yeah, I
pig.
know about you and the pig.
Oh, Edward.
Eddie.
Yep.
Pigs.
Best dog ever.
Can't eat a pig that good all at one sitting.
It's got a wooden leg. Were there a lot of hogs there?
So you have the warthogs, but not like wild
Pumbaa.
feral pigs. Yep, you got Pumbaa there.
I'm a warthog.
Which that's a cool looking pig with their tails everywhere they run. It's like they got a little antenna going everywhere. And the whole war dogs and I guess meerkats together, they are wherever you find a meerkat.
Oh,
that's pretty
really?
much- yeah, they're kind of everywhere together.
Simba.
Pumbaa and
Pumbaa
Timon.
and Timon.
Oh well.
Yeah, your kids
Close.
are too old.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Hey, that's
We
a good
did watch
movie.
it all. That was a good movie.
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna
Yeah.
Matata means no
There you go.
worries.
Matata.
There you go.
My
My
wife.
best is when the monkey hits him in the head with the cane. He's- Why are you worrying about it? It's in the past.
Good life lesson. But it hurts.
Are we still on the wildlife, or
No,
we
we probably need to.
get to the cow horse at some point?
Unless there's parrots.
Nope.
More
No
ostriches.
toucans.
No more ostriches. No parrots. Nope. Papa Gijsla is about the only parrots there
Were
was.
there a lot of deer?
Yeah, so there actually, even where we lived, there were still a lot of gemsbucks and springbucks and stuff like that that's just roaming around in herds.
Rhinos?
Nope, no rhinos are something that actually is darn near extinct. Just because they're hunted.
But there was some.
no,
in
not,
South- no, there wasn't
they're
in
all
South
in
Africa.
reservations trying to protect them. Like it's something that they're still fighting because there some guys in China thinking it's better than the blue pill or something.
Oh, that's crazy because me and my buddy George, when they bombed the ship, my dad said, you guys don't need to go to the Army right now because they're going to just stand you up and let them shoot at you and not let you go kill anybody. We decided we would go to Africa because we saw this flyer protecting the rhinos.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
And then wisely, he talked us out of that too. Because who knows what you would have got into.
Oh
Some
no, you would have gone
stupid
into
little white
guerrilla,
guy. You
guerrilla
know,
warfare over there.
that would have
over
been
that.
a bat. That was a better decision.
Yeah, you
not
would have gotten
going.
ambushed.
We wouldn't have, that was white meat out there. Me and George, idiots.
Your dad's going to heaven too, just so you live to be 41 years old. So he's going to heaven.
Him and God knows how many brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
They're still surfacing, so I don't know if he is. He has as many kids as Abraham, for crying out loud.
So you get over here, go to the hog farm.
Get over here with a broken
You-
leg.
It was broke when you came.
Yeah, like I broke it 2 weeks before a horse bucked, and then it was kind of clay ground, slipped, and then just kind of fell on me and rolled, and it just snapped my leg. So I came here with blue toes, all swollen.
Oh, your life was so miserable. moved you from your horses, moved you from your country, moved you
Girlfriend.
from your woman.
I was mad at my
moved you from
dad.
your-
I was furious at my dad. Like, thinking back, someday I'll be able to tell him I'm sorry I was such an idiot. But
So how do you get from the hog farm back?
Well, then
To the
university.
horse
then
training.
my H2A,
Came
I think
up.
that's what it's called.
You
So I
went
had to go
back.
back.
Yep.
And then about 6 months later, maybe it was a little longer,
What'd you do when you went back?
I just went right back to training for the same
I
guy.
got you.
Oh, you were really mad the second time you had to leave.
No, actually, second time. By that time, the love of my life
Moved on.
wasn't really the love of my life, come to find out.
Maybe Dad saw something.
So
Maybe
she
it
wasn't the love
the-
of my life. And so
Maybe that
all
was the
parted.
only thing he was moving you for.
Maybe. And so then that kind of made it a lot easier. And by that time, all my scholarships and things like that I could have had passed. And so, no, I was by that time, I'm ready. Like, let's do this. And we were just waiting on lawyers to get stuff done, and they finally did. And
Were your brothers as resistant as you?
no, actually, they weren't. They were all gung-ho from the start. They were ready to come over. Well, I think the reason we just missed my dad at that point so much. We were separated for years. He would come over every 6 months because it was so expensive to come over, just to kind of come spend some time with us for a couple of weeks and then come back. And every time he comes, the lawyers would say, hey, it's just going to be another month. It's going to be another 30 days. And so it's that 30 days. Okay, it's going to be this month. It's going to be this month. And that happened for years. So you're like, okay, I'm going to quit, but then, well, maybe it's this month. And so that's how it got strung out so long. And I'm glad they did. It was God's willed for us to be here, and it all worked out. And it's been a blessing ever since.
So how did you? So then you go right again. Then you come back.
Yep.
How do you get?
So
what do you?
go
How
to
do you get
college.
back
So
to the
right
horses?
right after I got back, I think it was 2 weeks after I got back, Mom and Dad needed some alone time, and they ship us off to Sturgis. Like, we've heard of Sturgis. We've heard. I'm 19.
Go play.
Like, we jump in a minivan of all things, and we head to South Dakota to Sturgis.
Oh, yeah,
Can't be as bad as
Clear in
shooting
Africa.
baboons in the butt.
And we go to Hog Heaven, this campsite, and we pitch a tent there, and got our minivan and a tent, and we have the best time of our life. I was 19, 17 was my middle brother, and 16 was the youngest, and we had a great time in Sturgis.
Did they speak better English than you did?
No, but nobody cared there. No, we had a great time in Sturgis. So then come back from Sturgis. I think it was a few months after that college started. Trying to think. So Colby Community College started.
You were there during the rally.
Yeah. Like, we went to
That's so
Sturgis.
like.
Is it July?
Expound a
I
tick.
think the Sturgis rally.
I think so,
July?
yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
Expound a little bit on that.
Well, we made
I mean,
lots
coming
of
from
friends.
South Africa, that had to be a
With no motorcycle.
No, we just
in your
had a
minivan.
minivan.
minivan down by the river.
We were on motorcycles everywhere. Like, people would just give us rides, and like, we would speak our broken English. They would make friends. We'd go to their campsites. We had a great time. Our
How
didn't
long
matter
were you
to
there?
anybody there.
No, I bet not.
I think we were there 4 or 5 days.
You got to pull that to you a little
Oh,
bit.
sorry.
Or go and turn so you can look at us both so you don't have to turn off of it.
There we go. That's probably.
There we go.
So we were there, I think, for 3 or 4 days, if I remember right. And it ended up being a great trip. It was.
Were you guys already been able to drink at home?
So 18, I was the only one at that point that could actually drink. 18 was illegal.
That wasn't the part I asked. Had you already drink at home like in South Africa?
Say that again?
Had you guys already drank at home before Sturgis?
Yeah, I mean, not with our parents necessarily knowing.
Right.
It's something that you
So
make
y'all
sure.
weren't well practiced.
No, golly, no.
No. So
But Sturgis broke us in.
That's what I was getting at.
We
like,
were green broke by the time we were
holy
done there. We were.
mackerel.
It was a fun time though. Golly, the folks there was great. And
So what goes on there?
oh, it's actually like I expected like this big gang rallies and stuff like that. It was everybody were friends, and you go into a place and say you're 21 and nobody asked questions about it, and everybody found out, well, obviously could tell that you weren't 21, and so they kind of take you under their wing, and then you'll party with these folks for a little while and meet some more folks over here, and it was a good time.
What were that? But what's going on all day? Are they?
Oh, so
bike
they got lots
racing
of they got lots of activities. So they got certain rallies where they go on little breakfast runs and stuff like that, and we got to do that with certain people. We just hop on their bikes and go for breakfast in the next town and come back. But they do a lot of displaying their bikes.
Oh,
And like there would be all kinds of weird custom bikes and stuff like that you would go
that are just
admire.
make your mouth water.
Yes, no, very, very cool. And a lot of just businessmen. Like you would think people from all over, lawyers, doctors, they just use this as an annual getaway trip. It's mainly what it is. A lot of guys and ladies just use it as, okay, this week we're getting away and forgetting about
Well,
our
there are-
careers. And
A lot of hardcores there too.
not that I could tell. Like,
Oh, really?
I think the hardcores maybe look down upon the Sturgis Rally, and I might be wrong, but they were weekend warriors as far as I can remember.
Oh, that's a little easier.
And I might not have been with the right crowds, but the people we were with were weekend warriors.
Huh. And probably fed you well.
Oh, yeah,
Everybody-
no.
Was it more camping or more motels?
We just camped. Like,
No, I
and so-
mean everybody.
I want to say most everybody camped. There's not a lot of motels. It's a little town. Have either one of you guys been to Sturgis? It's a
No.
little town too. To take that amount of people that come into that town is unbelievable. So most people had either RVs or tents or of some sort. Like I want to say there's maybe only 3 or 4 motels in that whole town.
It's probably like
Back
when
then, and
they
it-
were filming Yellowstone at the Sixes. It had the RV city.
Yeah,
Remember them
it's
guys were
exactly
talking
what it
about
is.
right.
There was a lot of different campsites, though. The one we stayed in was Hog Heaven, and it was everybody around you get to know them, and it becomes like a little family almost for the weekend.
Oh, it would be fun.
It was a great time.
I love hanging out with bikers. They're so easy.
No,
to
like
get along with.
again, we were not from here, and they made us feel welcome, and we had a great time. I didn't know how it was going to go. Mom and Dad just said,
Did
find
you guys
something
want
to
to
do.
You picked it out? And like,
Yes, like so.
think
My
we'll go
dad
to
mentioned
Sturgis.
it. My dad mentioned, "Hey, Sturgis is going on. Maybe you guys should go." And then it kind of ends as like, "You guys should find something to do." And I'm like, "Okay."
can't go home, but you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Pretty much. And so we hopped in this gray old Chrysler minivan, and off we went. At that point, we didn't even have our licenses yet. Driving on the wrong side of the road and all that. And off we go to South Dakota.
That's awesome.
This is so fun.
It all worked out, though. It was
Did
fun.
anybody let you drive their bike?
Yeah, actually, yes. No, we did. So all they ask is like, have you guys ever ridden bikes? And I'm like, yeah, no, we grew up with dirt bikes and stuff. We've never ridden any street bikes, and yeah, so they did.
Did they race them?
Oh, there was races, but it's mainly the things I saw there, they do that whole smoke out deal a lot more than racing.
Oh,
Where they just burn those tires until that tire, which makes no sense, but until that tire pops. They did a lot of that. They just smoke those tires and pop.
that'd be terrible to change.
Oh, and I mean, it would just smoke up the whole place.
Huh. Not much fighting.
No, there was maybe 2 fights that I saw.
They didn't have boxing matches and stuff.
Nope.
Not exhibition stuff. I'll be
None
doing
of
it.
that. No, it was very civil. Like, it was different than what I expected it to be.
The one, because they used to have it at Reno when we went. And you get down in there, And there was a lot of weekend warriors, but there was some real son of a guns
there was
down in
real
there.
stuff happening.
Like actual
There was-
gangs.
Yeah.
There were people that looked like they built them somewhere
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
and put a vest on them and sent them down in there.
Terminator.
Oh my God! But the bikes,
The bikes were unbelievable. But
yeah,
yeah, the
I
one
can't-
year, like there was that.
yeah,
Like
they
major-
shot a bunch
yeah.
of people, yeah. That was the year I run the guy over on the freeway, and then I pulled in there, and they just shot each other at the Denny's, and I'm starting to worry that somebody saw the name on my trailer, and I would get reported. But they said, "Yeah, we know he's there." I said, "Hey, look, there was this guy laying on the highway, and I ran him over." And I mean,
He was
I don't
just
know.
standing in it?
No, he was laying there.
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't see him till the last minute.
Yeah.
Which Annie ran somebody over too once, and I thought, "Geez, Annie, how do you not see somebody laying in the street?" And then when I ran that guy over, I'm like, "Oh, that's how it happens."
Remember when it wasn't a biker? I think didn't Bobby Ingersoll hit some lady in an intersection too one year?
Who? Oh,
Ingersoll.
Whoops.
Bobby, you're gonna have to come on here to defend yourself.
She came out of nowhere.
Out of no, yeah, that's what I thought.
Her on her rascal. Pulled out in front of me. Darned old blue hair. Gotta watch him. Worse than drop bears.
Our tree snakes. The other day, me and Tanner are having coffee on the porch, and these birds keep throwing a fit. I'm like, what in the world? And so we're having our coffee. It's real nice in the morning. And finally, I look up there, and there's this giant snake right over the top of us.
Oh, jeez.
And they're mad because he's going for their nest.
What kind of snake was it? Like a bull
A
snake?
dead one.
A dead That's a good snake.
Right after that. Right after that was a dead one.
Perfect.
Save my birds.
So, there again, we're 3 hours in, and we've not yet.
Now we're getting back from Sturgis.
We have
well,
not
we
yet
have-
worked a cow.
How can we not? How can? Yeah, we have.
No, I mean not.
We work some over there.
In Africa.
Yeah.
Bled them out.
Compared
And
to what
ate
we're
it.
doing here,
let's say
it's
the
a
name. What's
drop
the
in the
name? What's the horse again?
Nooit gedacht.
Noikerdag.
Yes, sir.
Did you? I'm getting comfortable with that word.
Yeah.
Noikadak.
You guys are gonna get it by the night. I think
Noikadak.
gedacht.
Dak.
There you go.
Maybe we should get some of those ponies for them veterans.
Oh yeah. That'd be a little inlet.
All right, we could just import some of that. Take them up there to Stillwell, and
Roll on, baby.
there it is.
In 30 days, you should be able to do it all.
Yes.
EJ says.
They won't get killed. I
Good
know
luck,
that.
Jake. We'll be back in a minute to check on your work.
There's some people that don't hit with an open hand too. So anyways,
Get back from Sturgis. A couple of months later, started college. Did the
at
Colby Community College.
Any
right there.
riding? Any riding?
still
So now I'm going to college. Dad said, "Hey, you're out of the house now. You're gonna have to pay your own way. So go get a student loan, and to pay housing, food, stuff like that." I worked out a deal with my repro instructor, Dr. Kelly, and she allows me to keep 8 to 10 horses there on the community or the Colby Community Equine Program facility. And
That's a
there's
full-time job there.
Yes. And so there's a ranch there in Garden City. Cribs Quarter Horses was the name of the place. And they send me 8 to 10 horses that their cowboys have tried and didn't get around. And they're like, there's this African in Colby that will take them. And so
They're way easier than zebras.
yeah.
So they send me anything from 4 to 8 years old to to get started pretty much.
And this is in 03, 02, 03?
Yeah, 03, yes.
03.
So how was that compared to having how'd those horses compared to, what was that like?
These were renegades. So
Yeah, that's
the
what I mean.
Scripps quarter horses, they had feedlots, cowboys, and then they had their breeding facility there. And they had some trainers that trained out of their indoor there. And so whatever they felt was dangerous and have tried, that's the one that came to the African. And so they were renegades. But those were the kind of horses. They were rank. And so I did that to pay my rent and everything for 2 years there at Colby. There was a little facility just north of Colby that a lady, Jane Johnson, owned. And I approached her, asked if I could rent some stalls. I wanted to do this full time. But before I told my family, I wanted to make sure I kind of had a business plan put together. And
Horse trainer.
because I was so worried my dad was going to say, you're being stupid. Because I was going to school for agronomy, same thing as he did. So I was in school. Yes, I did the repro deal, but I was taking classes to go to Kansas State University to go get my degree in agronomy. And so I was already enrolled in Kansas State when I approached my dad with this plan. It's like, hey, Dad, I really like this horse thing. And I always have, and he's always pushed me toward it. So it's like, hey, I would like to there's this place here, rent it. She would allow me to rent it, and I can train horses out of there. And I expected a big fight. No, you need to go finish the next 2 years so you can get your degree, then you can go do it. But no, he didn't. He's like, hey, if this feels what you want to do, then I'm on for it. You can always go back to school. And started that and never went back to school.
So at that time, what was your path that you were
So
thinking?
at that point, I really didn't have a path. I was just going to be a 2-year-old guy at that point. I'm like, I'm just going to start colts. I enjoy it.
Had you seen Cowhorse?
So that was
cutting,
going to be
reining?
that's going to be my next point. So at that point, I haven't. But then I did hear through this lady, Jane Johnson, that, hey, there's a Cowhorse show here in McCook, Nebraska coming up. I think that was a few years later. So I was at her facility for several years. So I think it was in 09. No. 08 was an 08 that I went to McCook. There was a drought buster, is what they called the Colorado Rain Cowhorse Association, put it on the show there. And so I went and watched. And I'm like, man, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. These guys can make these horses do things on cattle that I've never seen. So that I can explain to you guys, our cattle works were slow, driving cattle to corrals. That was about the extent, maybe sorting some pairs. That was it for cattle work on horseback. And then I got to see these guys do some amazing things with these cattle. And I was totally in. I'm like, I need to do this. And so this lady was there with me watching this, and she's like, yeah, this looks like fun. We would like to get into it. So went home, and they found a daughter of Hyda's Little Pep in Oakley, Kansas, which is just 15 minutes from where I was at, out of a genuine Doc daughter. And she was 3. So they bought her in February of, I think that was 09, yes. February of 09, and she was 3-year-old. Got her started, everything, and I started showing her that year, not knowing a thing about it. Like everything self-taught, what I just saw in McCook, Nebraska. So I'm trying to figure this out. So the Drought Buster, again, I think is in June. April, something like that.
It was right after NRBC
I had
in those
like
days.
just a few rides, so 60, 90 days on this mare. Now I'm going to go. They got like a jackpot cutting for 3-year-olds there in the Drought Buster. I'm going to go do this. And I look like such an idiot. Like, looking back, it's like, golly, how did somebody not just tell me, please, just get off your horse?
You couldn't understand them.
Maybe. That's I'm like, please get off your horse and leave
Trek
this
your coat,
premises.
ek your hare.
Yes, trek your kop uit jou gat uit. Exactly. So I leave there marking like a 62 or something like that. In
No
the herd
penalties.
work.
Clean. Yeah, no.
Yes. So embarrassed. I'm like, I failed. And so that just drove me. And I brought that same mare back that next year. And I won the limited open derby that year on her there. At the
Nice.
Groundbuster.
That's probably the year you're supposed to win the Open if you were entered.
I don't know. I was in 10, I think. And ever since then, I was hooked.
But before you went, had you seen reining or cutting or anything?
No, none of that stuff I've ever seen. Like the first time I was introduced to it was right there in the
Magazines?
Kipling or nope, none of it. Like so, Colby is an area that's not very horse oriented. Like it's farm, all farm. So being in that community, there was hardly any horses. So yes, they had the repro program there, and then that was about it. That I did a lot of.
I mean, you didn't stumble across a Western Horseman in a feed store or anything like that?
Not that I can recollect.
No
Like,
rodeo?
So really, so there was rodeo, yes. So they had a great rodeo team there, Colby. So they did have like a equestrian team that they did some English, and then I would call it like reining that they do there for the.
Right.
I can't think of what the abbreviation for it is, but they did do reining, but it was nothing like what these guys in McCook was doing. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's
would come to a stop.
Yeah,
But it wasn't
the
a
intercollegiate.
slide,
The intercollegiate
yes.
deal is a, I mean, it's a
They would
glorified
catch
horsemanship.
right, yes.
It's a glorified horsemanship.
So
problem,
I
really.
thought that was reining. So
With
I'm like,
your
okay, you're just
background-
doing like a pattern, but it's nothing cool.
Not cool.
No.
But with your background, how come you didn't lean to some English at the college?
So Riccatelli, Dr. Kelly Riccatelli, like did everything to try me to get to do it. And I just refused to do it. I'm done with it. Like I'm at this point saw that Western is the way to go. And so I was not going to do the English team. And so,
What got you in your first Western saddle? I mean, when you started taking them colts, did you?
so I actually just got one from Kelly Riccatelli. I'm like, well, this thing will be a lot easier to sit in than my English saddle. So I just bought an old used saddle from her, and that's what I started all those colts with. And it is a lot easier to start a colt than a Western. So stayed there at that facility for quite a few years, and then built a place 20 miles away, just east of Colby, Kansas, for myself, and then kind of went out on my own there.
Married yet at this time?
Married right before.
right before you
Went out on my
rented.
own.
Oh, before you went on your own. Yep. And no kids yet?
No kids.
No kids. So how do you, so your second year you go there, now you're going to be a trainer that
Yes.
shows.
Big ambitions there. I actually didn't think it was that hard at first.
Right.
Like this mare was, I had this little pep, short, stocky, fat little thing, but she helped me out a lot. And so I'm like, well, I can do this. And then Jane Johnson ended up sending some horses she bought from a place called Black Rock. I think that's
Yep.
what it was
I
called.
remember
So-
you riding them Black Rock horses. Yep.
So she sent those with me when I started my business there, and I ended up buying a mare from them myself, a Nitroduldoc. The ones she bought was some Shiner's son.
Shiner's Diamond Shiner's
Yeah,
Diamond Sun. Shiner's Diamond Sun.
Yes, there
Yep.
you go. And so then I had these 3 cow horses. And so that's who I went and showed. And they were my first true futurity colts, was those Black Rock horses. And
So after you see it in McCook, now do you seek out and watch anything or see
yeah,
anything?
so
or?
now I go to the Colorado Range cow horse shows. And Darren Miller was great about kind of introducing me to the rest of the crew there in Colorado. And then I was just kind of like stuck to their hip for a couple of years, just wanting more. And would drive back and forth from Colby to Colorado and go ride with them and try to get better with my horses. And just kind of had these 3 horses that I hauled all over and showed all over Colorado. Didn't venture out really from there.
Who helped you there?
Darren a lot. Darren helped me a ton getting started. I would stay at his house a week at a time.
He doesn't speak English anyway, so it worked out fine.
So at this time, my English was getting better. Like I was quite a bit better by then. But he really did help quite a bit to get me into it. And actually, that whole group, the Colorado group's a great group of people that helped me get going. Even though I lived clear in a different state, they were very welcoming, never made me feel like an idiot, like I should leave the place, even though I'm sure I look like it. Because everybody there really did know what they were getting into. Other than my dressage background, I didn't know anything about it. But they never made me feel like it.
Hey, I'm telling you, without that Colorado Range Cowhorse Association, there'd be a bunch of us that wouldn't have survived.
No, they're a great group. And
I mean, that deal, I made a living out of Pueblo.
yes.
For a long time, and McCook, and those were the two that I would go to. But I mean, I seemed like I was up there. After I left Carroll's, I was up there all
Ever
the time.
since
That's when we met.
I can remember you were there.
Yeah. I mean, I loved going up there.
Yeah.
Then the schedules got such where I haven't got to go a lot. But we went back to Pueblo this year. I love showing in Pueblo.
Yes, it's a great place.
I love it. I don't care. I mean, I went out there. I was helping Jason shag cows in the snow at this last one, for crying out loud. I don't care. It is fine. I love Pueblo.
Yeah, it just gives you a little relief. You're showing outside and all those kind of things. It's nice.
Yeah.
Who else was going in Colorado at that time?
So Tim Unzinger was big when I first started. Darren Miller, Jim Cook. Those were kind of the
Monty Bruce had come in there.
Yeah, he would come up from
Iowa.
Minnesota, Iowa area, yes. And
Levi.
then Luke Jones would come down quite a bit.
Levi Grimes.
Levi Grimes was big then. You're exactly right. Actually,
Kyle Noyes.
Kyle was big then.
Yeah, that was the year that you would have won.
Kyle was
Me and
huge.
Kyle come up there and me and Kyle just swapped them off. I mean, it was like first, second, third, fourth. I mean, we were both glad EJ wasn't here in the open. And we'd have stray gatherings.
Yes, that was a blast.
And everybody had to rope. You'd have a 3-man team, or in it was a Brandon. We'd have these little Brandons, and everybody'd have to rope. We'd put gents on our team, and just tell him to just throw the rope. And he's I'm like, dude, throw the rope so you can get off.
Yeah,
you're here to mug. You're here to mug. And it was great. 0 technique. You get a rope on it, and gents, it was going down.
Throw it.
But we'd have more fun at them horse
There
shows.
were great shows.
And it was called the Drought Buster, that one in McCook, for a reason, because it would either pour rain or snow. Like that year, it would have been 11, because Traveling Jones was a 3-year-old.
Yeah, so that would have been one of my first years showing there.
Yeah. And that was the year, that was my first, because that was my first ever victory. My first ever time I won first in an open was in McCook at that deal. And the stalls were such that there was a roof on them, but
they're open sided.
But they're open sided, and the roof is high, and there's portable stalls underneath of it, right to the edge. And it's a snowstorm coming, mister. I mean,
blowing in.
Yeah. And I went to high school up there. I knew what this was about to be. So I got this 9-horse trailer. I throw all my blankets back on my horses, feed and water them on this trailer, and I take them to the hotel with me. Promise you. And they stayed in that horse trailer overnight. And when I got there the next day, there was about a foot of snow in all of them stalls.
Yeah.
And it was not fun. And this is in April.
Yeah, if you're not doing that, you're hiding in the bathroom from a tornado.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that had to be a little bit of a culture shock from the mild.
Yes. So
South
actually, I forgot to
African-
say one of my first steps was in Atlanta, out the door with those suitcases, and I landed right on my back, stepped out on ice. Boom. You get those wheelie suitcases trying to pull at them.
What is this stuff?
Yeah. No, it was a culture shock. The cool deal, I went straight to Walmart and bought a big, heavy, canary yellow coat that I remember just to stay warm.
And it was
I looked
good
like such a
looking.
tourist.
And it was good looking.
Canary, what's the only thing they had
is what he
left
did.
in my size was this canary yellow snow coat. It was awesome. I had it for a long time.
Well, at least they could find you so you wouldn't get into the... What the heck is the pony's name? Oh my goodness. Wildfire. Michael Martin Murphy.
Oh,
He could find you in the snowbank.
yeah.
Pick me up.
So that was your first show?
No, I think that was my second show.
Second show, your first
11
one.
would have been my second time at the Drought Buster.
So you didn't get to see him the first time.
No.
No, that was in 09. I don't think you were there. And maybe you were. I just didn't know anybody when I went.
No, I don't
Like,
think I
I
did.
was
I
just
didn't have a show
expect-
string built back in 09. So I left in 08. And I didn't have much time.
Yeah, the guys I remember seeing back then would be Darren, Tim Unzinger, Jim Cook. They were kind of the guys over there.
They had some stuff going on.
2010, I think 10 might have been the first year I went up there. 9 or 10 would have been the first year. Like me and Robbie went up there. Maybe
Yeah,
Boyd
so
would
10
have
was
come
my
up.
first one. Robbie did come to some of those.
Yep.
Too. Yeah, no. So I think
Boys.
10 was my
Yeah.
first.
Robbie Boyd.
Yeah, we were all on the.
Boy, you were in the thick of it, EJ. Straight out of the banana belt into the snowstorm with all the up and comings.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of good trainers. Really, really good trainers. And it was a fun group. Not everybody made it fun. Like you said, had those evening events, so you became part of the group
Brad
pretty
Lund. Brad
fast.
Lund had come. Brad Lund was showing a lot with
Yes.
us then too. Yeah. Yeah, because that's when Matt Cook met his wife.
Yeah, right there in McCook.
Yep. That's when him and Brianna met. I think she was working for Darren. Yep.
Oh, I'll be darned. That's
Yep.
right. I did ask that.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Matt still
Alaskan.
had his rope tied to his saddle in them days.
Yeah, he did. Right off the Haythorn Ranch.
Yeah. Didn't even have a mustache.
He did. I think I saw Brianna wanting him to get it back. I don't know if he did or not.
He trimmed it down a little.
Did he?
Little woolly fella.
So, when you first start out and you're just 2-year-old in it, just because you want to ride, then you go have a little luck at the second one. Like, well, this is easy. I'll do this.
Yeah, and then I just fell on my face for quite some time.
When was the first kid? Because we're in these days, right?
So it was in 13.
Oh, okay. So it was a minute before. So how long were you married the first time?
10 years.
Oh, no kidding.
Wow.
Really? I didn't realize it was that long.
10 years.
One kid there?
One kid, yes.
Yep. And how old is she now?
She is, so that would be 13. She's 9.
13. Should be 10 this year.
10 years here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 this year. Yeah. What year? What month?
Oh, she is 10. You're right. February 11th. Sorry.
Yeah. She's running up on. She's only halfway there.
Yeah.
Well,
Catch him.
so got married. Starting out 2-year-olds. Now you go start training for a living,
So
and
now
you're
I
gonna,
start training, and I'm just riding anything, everything. And I do have, like I said, there's one that I own that's Black Rock, and then this lady had 2 others with me, and those are really the only cow horses I have. And I would start
and the rest are.
just feedlot horses, like anything 30 days. And I did that for years and years and years.
How much
What
are
do
you
mean
charging then?
Oh, I think I started at $650 a month. And so, and I did that. I bet I did $650 to $750 for the next 10 years.
So you were basically paying people to ride their horse for them.
Well, and you're in Colby, Kansas, of all places.
Well, still got to buy feed. I guess feed might be cheaper.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't make a lot of money back then, but I did get my foot in the door there at the
Right.
Colorado deal. So it did give me a chance to learn.
But never went and assisted in, I mean, not Western or here.
I didn't assist anywhere, no.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
No, it tells you how helpful the other trainers were. Because without other trainers willing to help, you weren't going to figure that out.
No.
And they were just that willing to help you get better.
And you couldn't afford to assist. You're
No,
married
I had a
with kid.
family. And
Yep.
I have
And-
to pay a mortgage. And
And right, so you're in the mortgage. You got the mortgage by the time you're showing?
I showed 1 year
Renting.
renting, yes.
Oh, okay.
And then got the mortgage.
So then you get...
How'd you know what to charge?
I didn't. Like, I just kind of said, well, this will make it to where I at least can buy bread and water.
So how long do you go with those 3 before you get another one?
I'm trying to think. So I have those 3 Black Rock horses, and what was my next one I got after that? So there was 1 year I skipped, and then I had another couple of futurity colts after that from folks from just a little east of us, Plainville, Kansas. So there for a little while after that, I had about 5 cow horses going down the road.
And what the struggles that come is like when, you're only making $650, but you stay home.
Yeah,
no motels, no restaurants.
Yeah, so I just stayed in my 6-horse trailer. What was it, a 98 model horse trailer. And I just stay in the nose of it. And pretty much took sandwich stuff and just lived out of that nose of that trailer every time I hit the road.
But the costs come up.
So yeah, slowly I adjusted my costs and stuff like that. I think.
Well, I mean, even within your business, you're making this much, you're charging $650, but you're right there. Now you're on the road and just the stuff.
Yes.
The tires, the fuel, just the stuff on the road.
Yes.
And really the paychecks aren't huge yet.
No,
or
not
even
at all. Like I'm not getting paychecks. I'm donating. I am the paycheck for everybody else.
And the shavings and the hay and the at the show
But at that point, I think my biggest driving point is these folks that had horses with me, all of them would want to ride those horses themselves. So a lot of them we were sharing. They would show, I would show.
Open non-pro,
and
yeah.
So they would mainly pay me to go take their horses down the road as long as they got to go play too. Like if it wasn't a deal that I just showed just me.
Right. And it helped having them along.
Oh, it did.
Because they paid a lot of stuff. But still, it's just a I want to do it deal.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no money being made. It really wasn't until, I would say I was in it until 2017. That's when I can say, okay, we're making a little bit of money at training horses, still riding a lot of just 30-dayers. But at least I'm not in the red with the bank or anything like that at that point.
Now, is the wife working there? Or, I mean,
Yes,
how are you guys providing for the child here? Because, I mean, I want to know how these conversations were going.
She was working at the bank just kind of as a loan officer.
Oh, that's hey.
So I had
now the pieces are coming together.
Speaking of mortgage, adjust that rate.
Yes. But no, so it was kind of a team effort to just get through those first couple of years. And every year was a little easier as my knowledge grew, so
Right.
did everything else.
And so did your barn
Yes.
of horses. So 16, 17, you start going up on your prices?
Yes.
And how fast?
I want to say probably by 17 we're at 950. So fairly fast.
Yeah.
Realized that we can't stay broke forever.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, I didn't really realize how much everything, I wasn't charging enough to haul. And so those things caught up later than I should have. I should have known to charge more for those kind of things, because that's really where you get losing most of your money is on your wear and tear on your truck and your trailer. And horses tear things up, as we all know. So you're constantly fixing things, and if you're not charging enough, your equipment just gets run down.
It eats you.
It will.
Because no one's there when you got to buy the next truck or trailer.
Exactly.
Or fix the axle or the tires. Good Lord, the tires.
Shoot, axles. Heck with the money. You're a month out on an axle right now. Minimum.
Yeah, now you are.
Minimum.
No fun.
Is it really?
1 month. Like, if you lose an axle on a trailer,
Your stuff.
we literally bought a trailer because we had 2 trailers down with axles
Oh, man.
at once. And, like,
No
had to have
other
a trailer.
Jeez.
Yeah, so thanks, Wayne Hodges, 4-star trailers.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
We'll send you an invoice.
So once you start winning a little, or at least, I guess more people are probably coming because actually you start building more clients because you're helping with the non-pro part.
Yes, and that's really, without the non-pro deal, my business would have came to a halt.
And then also the other part about getting to charge for the hauling and stuff, in the beginning, would they have paid it?
Yeah, probably not. And it's a deal that I had to grow that part of the Kansas area, introduce people to Cowhorse. And then once people got introduced to it, then they would tell a neighbor and they would come to the Cowhorse. So my business at that point was all kind of locally.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, just people got interested and thought it was a neat sport and then got involved.
You got business cards up at the feed store?
I actually did.
Yeah.
I had business cards, not that I do anymore. I don't have a business card anymore. Social media took over, but way back then, business cards still worked.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest thing is that part of the world was so starved for Cowhorse, they've never even seen it, kind of like me. And so when they were introduced to it, they thought it was neat. And some of my clients I still have that I made way back then.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't know what a Cowhorse was at first. Like Darvin and Tammy Strutt, I just met them at a country club and talked them into getting into the Cowhorse.
See, that's why I believe the growth of the Cowhorse, or most anything, is a limited open rider.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Because you go find someone that we can't find.
Yeah, just start with somebody brand
It's
new.
the
You're not taking
neighbor
somebody else's
that- yeah,
client. You're
other-
starting
'cause-
new clients.
Yeah. It's not somebody that's in it that wants to go spend the big money and do the thing. It's somebody's like, yeah, I don't know, I guess.
I might help you.
I'll
a
buy
little
with
bit.
that. And then they get a little cheap horse and they go like, hey,
We are getting beat.
I want a little
This race
more.
car don't
Yeah.
keep up with them race cars.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Right. And then they move on, or they get lucky and get a winner. Then
And
they're,
then they're hooked.
really hooked.
Yes, exactly.
Spend a life trying to find another one for $2,500.
Right.
Make the open finals.
And I just made the right kind of clients back then and strong relationships, and it's still paying off.
Yeah, and brought a ton of people in.
Yes.
So, how about when you're switching from the 30 dares and 30 to 90 dares where everyone's so happy with the horse you sent home and the job you've done, then you get to winning. It's fun the first time because you didn't expect to do anything, and then you get to losing after you won, and then dealing with
Fighting your head and
the fight in your head and it's like it kind of when you don't keep winning, it takes the fun out, and you got to get back up there and you start thinking, it was fun when every horse they came and looked at, they're like, holy cow, this is so cool, you can side pass.
EJ,
I
this
didn't
is the
even
part
know.
of the show where we just stay quiet and we let Russell have his own therapy session.
get it out, Russell. We're listening.
So how did you get through that?
I don't
Or
know.
did it even happen?
No, it definitely happens, and it still does. I don't think it's something a horse trainer ever get rid of. You always have your peaks and you have your valleys, and I contribute mine to my faith. I believe God gives me contentment in the situation, and that's where He wants me to be, and that's how I get through it. Rationalizing it that, hey, if God wants me to be at the top 30 rider list, and that's where He would put me. And if not, I need to be content with where he's got me. And that's how I get through those situations. And I don't think, if I didn't have that, I don't think I could get through those, because that is a tough place. Human nature gets in your way there and tell you that you're not good enough and that you'll never get there kind of deal. But it's easy to buy into that lie. But if you can find a way not to get too down on yourself, you'll pull yourself back out. Then that's how I do it.
And find a good spot to be.
Yeah, just mentally, it's all a mental game in any sport, I think. It's trying to stay on the positive side of things no matter what happens. And I fall short of that, staying positive all the time, but do my best to try and be on the positive end of things.
Sarah and I, we've just recently got involved in a deal with, it's called Mind Power Sports, and they're doing a partnership for youth, and it's all about, getting a hold of the mental skills, and sharing that with these youth kids and stuff like that. And I mean,
and they should share that with us.
Well, and you're right.
Don't just share it with the youth. I'm lacking it over here.
Right. Well, I'll give you her number, and like I say, but check it out, because, man, Kim, she does a heck of a job there, and it's cool stuff that they're doing. Real cool stuff that they're doing.
It's an important part of this deal that all of us have to somehow find a way to move through it.
Yeah, look that up on Facebook, because I think
What is it
episode
called?
1's out. Mind Power Sports.
Mind to Power Sports. Okay.
And check that out, because they're releasing some. There's a handful of us that have got little stuff on there, and it's I think they're kind of basically they're having kids ask questions, and then they've got a pretty good panel of people. I don't know how good we are, but there's a large panel of people from Haley Kinsel and Matt Gaines and
awesome.
Sarah and myself.
Heck yeah.
And Leighton Berry and Will Loomis. There's a lot of rodeo guys
Big
on there.
variety of sports.
Yep, Phil and Ryan Rapper on there. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And like I say, and just giving us, and like I think this first one, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's how important is the mental skills side of things, and it's all of us elaborating on how much we use it and how important we think it is. But then we've all done full interviews that will gradually get released.
Perfect.
And so yeah, it's a pretty neat deal. So check that out.
Point of it.
Yeah, Mind Power Sports on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know how to use Instagram, but I need to figure that out. I mean, like I say, I just got to where I can kind of check my Facebook.
My wife can help me out with that.
Yeah.
She's kind of a tech savvy one with that kind of stuff.
Well, them boys probably can.
Oh, I'm
See, you got
sure.
you got a whole social media gaggle now. You can start employing.
If it's not on my Messenger app, I struggle.
Right.
So you're getting going. Things are going better, getting to charge a little more.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a first marriage.
Yes.
So that was probably really
That goes
easy to get
south
out
and-
of. No.
And 18, I think, is when it all kind of went south there.
How's your training deal going then?
Actually, it's what kind of kept me going through it all. Like, it's something to get up out of bed for.
Yeah.
And so just kind of kept my head down through all that. And funny how things worked out, all worked out for the better.
Right.
During that time frame is actually when my business really took off. It's funny, like, I don't know if I traveled more. I think that's maybe what it was. I maybe got out a little bit more, came more to Fort Worth and Vegas and places like that, and kind of got a little more on the national stage. And then my business really took off from there. I got a lot more clients from Colorado during that time. And the business part of it was good. It's funny when your personal life kind of fell apart, how the business took off. But then
Never heard that story before.
It doesn't.
it actually was the reverse for me. I know a lot of people say when personal fall apart, your business too, but mine was the opposite. I kind of just poured myself into it.
Sometimes I think it's not so much personal falls apart, business falls apart. A lot of times it's business falls apart, personal falls apart.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's every mix, of course, but just being able, a lot of people that we talk to that listen to the show after and stuff, if you let those two get too mixed up, you can ruin them both.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's really easy when you're having personal troubles to
Affect your business.
destroy it. And the same thing when your business deal is going, man, it is so easy to ruin everything at home,
take
and you
it out
can't.
at home. Yep.
You can't let that in this point in the year right now, seeing how we're sitting at pre-futurity, be a good time to remember that.
Right.
Emotions run high.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to go home from here either smiling, thinking they got their horses on track, or fighting
Not.
their heads like, here we go.
Not, yeah.
What
Yeah.
have I been doing for the last? This is the part of the show where you be quiet and let me talk.
There you go.
Russell's over here. How you boys doing?
Yeah.
I ain't got no 3-year-olds. Man, I get this bridle horse lined up though.
I got to get it trained.
Hauling my 2-year-olds around everywhere. My 2-year-olds got more miles on them than most people's derby horses.
I got to
joke.
get my bridle horse trained because he named it.
Yeah,
he did?
I called it for my backup in Vegas next week.
Yes.
Like, holy pressure.
That's awesome.
Not really. Not that pressured. I knew there'd be, that's the only way I'm going to get in there.
Through that back up.
That's why Russell goes nowhere without his spurs and his chaps, just in case we
No,
need
we're
a
in
catch
our
ride.
tennis shoes, and he's out here spurring this chair.
Yeah. Yeah. Never know when somebody
I'm
might need a catch rider.
He's going to be like, hey, what was he doing at our stalls last night? Come, my horse is sore.
Test ride.
It's the million today. Why is Melody tied by my tack room?
Here she is. Saddled. Bridle, hanging on saddle horn.
You're ready to go. You'll be good. Put your mouth guard in. EJ has to wear a mouth guard to go to bed.
I do. I grind my teeth terribly.
He has his own survey.
I'm going to send you
It's
the
not a
number of
survey.
this gal.
Oh, please do. I'm in. I'm totally in.
Like, he's a specimen. He's a study.
Bunch of dentists.
There's the EJ Laubscher
Laubscher.
They've
study.
never seen somebody do that to their teeth.
His own teeth.
Just my grinding them away.
Ow.
Yeah, if you mouth him, he's 79.
Smooth mouth.
Smooth mouth. Smooth mouth.
They're going to call me.
Color.
Well, how long before we meet the new wife?
Oh, okay. So she was a client before.
classic.
Dipping the old pin in the company.
Classic.
I see how it is.
Got married in 20, and she's a little firecracker and really took me and my business again to a whole another level because she's so driven and just
Positive.
a spitfire. She does not sit still.
Very positive.
Yes, like just
Terrible
go get her.
affliction for pet pigs. Embarrassing.
And
so.
mullets.
Yes, she is refusing to let one of our twin boys cut his mullet, and he just
Thank
takes,
God, because
he,
it's the only way you can tell them apart.
he takes the abuse. Just I'll take it, Mom. You like it, I'll keep it.
That's awesome.
Joe Maldonado had a mom like that. You know who that is?
I've heard the name.
It's Tiger King.
Oh,
Oh, there you go. Well, we're in right town.
Before he was Tiger King, he was
There
Joe
you go.
Maldonado. And he had a mom.
so now how many kids are in the
Yeah, you got
Laubscher clan
that-
now?
So I
That
have
up the number.
Genzi with my previous wife,
Yep.
and then Amanda had Riley, which is 14 now, and Colin and Dylan, 10-year-old, 11-year-old boys.
Twins.
Twin boys, yes.
Thank God they got. I'm with her on the mullet. So I won't even tell them apart.
That's it,
Little
yeah.
pot lickers. Chris just figured out there was 2 of them.
The mullet. I mean, I really thought the one kid just had his hair tucked in his hat all the time. Like, man, they go through a lot of clothes, that family. And then I saw them at the same time, and I'm like, what? Oh, no wonder.
2 of them.
Now
Two
I
of
get
them.
it.
Yeah, they were giving at the Brandon. They were giving me a hard time about not getting their names right, and I'm like, I literally just found out there was 2 of you.
And then we have Madison, who's 18 months now.
Brand new.
Yep. Like, so when we made our move from Kansas last year, March, she was just a newborn.
So you're up in Kansas training, and he has shown me the video of the windstorms with the corn husks. I mean, you literally
You have to be tough.
cannot see to that blanket, which
Like, just
I'm
be
sure it
careful.
only happened about
That's
once
about
a
12,
year for
about
30
12
minutes.
feet
Yeah.
for
It's
Listeners.
the dirt storms are impressive there.
So he calls me and says, "Hey, we're just going to ask your opinion on moving. I'm thinking about moving down to Texas." So I give him my opinion and say, "I just happen to have a place that would fit you."
They did. I called him. I believe I called Don Murphy. And then I called some of the Colorado guys because I'm like, hey, it'll be a lot easier moving to Colorado. My client base is down there. They got a great association. Just be closer to the shows. But I thought, well, for the heck of it,
hey,
I'm going to
stop,
go.
stop.
What?
That's
rubbing
loud.
that cup.
Oh,
I'm going to go try and call some guys from down south. I would actually like to move down south. And so Russell was one of the guys that called, and I called Don, and they both kind of gave me the thumbs up. And he told me, hey, I know exactly where you can move. And he told me who to call, so I called Pam Crawford. And without seeing the place, pretty much had it all lined out. And Amanda was, she was freaking out. Like, honey, it's all going to work out. Like,
Because you haven't seen it yet.
no, like we
Right.
pretty much had this
Right.
place spoken for, and our place sold, so we had to be out of there. We had no place to go yet. And I was just said, we're buying this place.
Well,
And
did he represent it well?
yeah, no, Pam did a wonderful job, sent us some pictures, things like that. So I had the fairly good idea what we're getting into. And I just kind of took Russell for his word, and it all worked out well.
and it's because he was thinking about moving to Colorado,
yeah.
but the prices were comparable to here.
It really
Texas,
is. Same
yeah.
as here around Weatherford.
Yeah, about the same
places
deal.
Like that.
Yeah.
And he was wanting to get a little more country. I'm like, well, you're just going to go pay that, and it's not going to be
Right.
any different. And you could come kind of here in the middle. It's cheaper, but you still reach Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, and I mean, it's probably a little
Hard
struggle
going.
on some of the clientele.
Yeah, and it was a little bit, but really most of them just stayed on. Like they didn't really care where I went, but they all came with me. So it
When you
worked out
move,
well.
you feel like, oh my God, I'm going to lose 2/3.
It was terrifying.
It is terrifying.
I
And
just
he was
figured-
telling me that, and I'm like, look, EJ, the reason they're with you is they didn't want to be somewhere else. So you take way more of them than you think.
Right.
And he was right. I figured I would lose at least half my clientele, and I don't think I lost maybe 2. That's it.
Yeah. And even that's with the non-pro deal, but
Like it really wasn't much.
Yeah, if your business, I mean, like I say, if your business is people that are coming to ride
daily.
daily, multiple times a week, I think that would, for people out there that might be listening that are contemplating a move, if your business is, more structured around that,
Yeah, that's
then
different.
that's a little different deal. But if
That
you're
is.
riding horses for people that you're showing and, like I say, if they're with you, if they're with you and they like you, they're going to stay with you where you go. The world is small now.
Yes, it is.
I mean, plane tickets are cheap and it's easy to get places. And like I say, I try and get our owners to come to the house because, you know, you get to a horse show.
Yeah.
so
You
busy,
can't even
you
see
can't-
You don't
anybody.
have time. I mean,
Yes.
so it's like, hey, why don't you guys come spend a few days and like hang out and watch your horses? And
Yeah.
we can spend a little time together.
Yeah, you can actually get on them.
Right.
And we can actually sit down and have a meal, whereas at the horse show, it's just,
10 different directions.
Yeah. Yeah. If I can do a dinner at a horse show with
You're
a
lucky.
client, I mean, that's a lot.
No, I bet so. Yeah, your deal is the only reason I show horses is so I can go have good meals.
he's a big time foodie. I
Oh,
called
I
him this
love
morning,
foodies.
like, hey, where's the breakfast spot?
Oh, I heard about the trendy breakfast spot.
It wasn't it good though?
It was good.
Yeah, it's very trendy though. I was a little
Was-
worried
Was
that
that
he wasn't
was
gonna
that
like
the
it.
was that right? Is that righteousness?
No, snooze.
Snooze.
Is what it's
Snooze,
called.
oh.
It's on
Which-
7th, I think.
It's very trendy,
Very.
but the inside was full. So we sat outside, and the sewer drain
no.
has a slight vent.
So I guess I've not sat outside. So.
But, well, it might have just been something, probably, maybe it's not normal. But
Oh.
the food was superb. And the people watching,
Yes.
I'm not going to get started. Like Easter eggs. And Ben Baldus.
There you go.
Well, Ben is the king of trendy.
He's got trend all over him. So
So now we have our own workforce.
Yeah.
yeah,
They are
and
great
they
help.
do. Hey, and they
Great help.
work. They work.
Yes, they do.
That girl is nicknamed the sheriff for a reason.
No, Riley is up, like, and the kids are up in the morning helping Amanda with stalls, feeding, and just go all day. Whatever we need, they're there. They're incredible kids. Can't do it without them. They are part of Laubscher Performance Horses.
That's awesome.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Exactly. Yeah, do you have any employees or just?
Yes,
Yeah.
I got a wonderful assistant, as you mentioned early, Liberty.
Oh yes,
Oh,
yes.
Excuse me. He didn't think she really worked for you. Liberty and Destiny.
Yeah.
Nope, she's my assistant. So she
She
was
just
with
comes
me.
in tired in the morning.
Yes. She was with me for 3 years in Kansas. Then she went to school, and then COVID hit, and now she can do things online. So she just came back, and so she's been with me back for over a year again.
Awesome.
And great gal, hardworking, trustworthy. Again,
Oh,
good-
beyond like that, you can't state that enough.
Yes,
And
trustworthy.
her appallment at your description of her as a stripper cannot be overstated.
Yes.
Like,
Oh,
not a foul
gal.
word, not a.
no, she is like a great gal. Like
She's gold.
somebody that you can have your clients be around and not trying to police her what she says. She's just great. And
And
so, yeah,
hardcore.
Yeah, oh no, she's all in. She rides
She's unbelievable.
everything, anything I ask her to ride, she's there. But I think her biggest quality is I could just know I'm here at a horse show. I haven't talked to her once.
Yeah. No, though that's
Legitimately, I've not talked to her
Yeah,
once.
when
And
you
I have
can-
no concern.
right. Yeah. No,
I love that
that's
girl.
that's peace of mind when you have somebody like that at the house that you is. I mean, there's enough stress at these horse shows. You're not going, oh, this thing's alive at the house. What do I calling neighbors? Hey, can you go
Check
make
things
sure somebody showed up? And
It's a female Stefan.
yeah,
It's like that.
Yes, exactly like that.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, everything gets handled. And then she was out there helping us with after the Brandon, we had we were doing, the soldiers were there, so we're gathering. And we're gathering this big pasture, and they have no idea where to be. They don't ride that well. They haven't ridden that much at all. And we're headed to the corral. We've got them lined out, like, don't ride in front of anybody. You're on that guy's left. You stay there, all this stuff. and them cattle are getting a little loose, and I see a bunch of buzzards trying to kill a calf off in another field, and Liberty is with us. I'm like, Liberty, can you run this? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Took over.
Yeah, and I just left, and not a ripple in the water. Keeps
That's
everybody
great.
in line, drives them all in, gets them in, sorts them. I come back from my disaster, and she's wonderful.
No, and she's like that every day.
Yep.
The biggest blessing is people like that make their way into your life. She was not really horse savvy when she started. She just pretty much came she tried to ranch up in Nebraska and kind of wanted to learn more how to ride and things. And so she applied, and I'm like, well, I was kind of needing somebody at that point. And I'm like, heck yeah, let's try this. And within 6 months, she put so much work into it, she could actually get one trained. Like
That's
she
awesome.
took to it really
Yeah.
fast.
That is real fast.
Yes. And just gets better every day. So I don't know how anybody that truly want to train can get around having somebody like that backing them up. You need somebody responsible to help, especially if you're going to be down the road.
Right.
Like somebody needs to take care of their home.
No, absolutely. Yeah, you can't do it. I mean, there's shows. There's so many shows now.
And some of them are lengthy where you're gone for 2-3 weeks at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, we were not home more than 2 weeks at a time
Yes.
from January to June.
Believe it.
Yeah. 2 weeks. It is.
Makes my head hurt.
Oh, I'm telling you. It makes futurity time get easier, though, because, like, spring has gotten to be the new stress season
Yeah.
because you like, all right, well, we got these derby horses we got to get ready for next week. We got 3-year-olds need train, and we've got these 2-year-olds that need to be coming.
Yeah.
And that,
And those really easy little qualifiers.
yeah.
And the world
Oh, and not to mention the
forget
bridal
that.
deals and
that instead of being 22, there's 98
yeah. Yeah. It's,
bridal horses
Jeez,
trying to
that's
get
crazy.
you with a one-run qualifier. It's like a rodeo. Everyone's throwing from behind the barrier.
Yeah.
And someone's going to
And
catch.
you got to be 3. You
Someone's-
got to be
yeah.
3 to have to sniff it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of them are going to miss, but someone's not.
Yeah, and this
Strange
year,
great
and this
watching.
year, what we did 5, the top 5 was on the qualifiers, and I don't know. I mean, it felt like it was a lot harder to be in the top 5 3 times than it was to be in the top 8 2 times.
Oh, it's crazy. No, it looks like a knife fight.
There ain't no knives. If you got a knife, you need to stay at home.
Bring your gun.
Bazooka. It's a bazooka
awesome.
fight.
Yeah,
Air Support B7.
oh, yeah, that's it. Well, man, why? What else? Well, I guess we should. I mean, we have come. So basically, we did not know what a cow horse was in 2009. So that, I mean, is not that long ago.
No.
Was that 14 years?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, 14,
Yeah.
14 years not knowing what it was. And we're a
It's not-
$250,000 winner.
Wow.
I
No,
mean,
this sport's been great to me. I have no complaints. It's been a lot of fun.
and from not knowing what it was and nobody, and shoot, we might not say your name right, EJ, but everybody knows who you are.
Well, I had to ask him because I was stalled with him down there in the dungeon one time, and I cannot. There's 4 or 5 ways to pronounce that, so I have to have him tell me. And once he put lope in there, I got
Good.
it.
Like a horse
Yeah, because
loping.
I
And
cannot
you've never
say
gotten it again. And you've never had.
Laubscher.
Oh, there it is. First time. That's the
you
first
got
time
it.
you've ever
Well,
said it
it's
right.
hard to put a O where the A and the
is,
U
yeah.
are.
I want to say Laubscher.
Yes, hate that.
And I don't mind. Laubscher works for me.
I got Laubscher.
Perfect.
I got it down now.
Yep, we've got it.
My dad sold him so many things.
Oh, yeah. I own the Dilday Ranch now. But no, Wynnewood's been great for our business. The move has been really good. We like that area. It's probably the prettiest place I've lived. And got a lot of great new clients out of it.
That's awesome. Yep.
Got Bill lined out.
Yeah.
Saw Bill Weaver.
Yeah, he's
Sweet
getting,
fence run.
Yes, I know. Just
Got
keeps
lost
getting
for
better.
a second.
Just that
in the-
indecision.
right,
just for
but
everything
no,
else.
oh my
Wild Bill.
God.
Like not
Wild
gonna
Bill.
die.
Yeah.
No negative spiral.
No, Bill was great this weekend.
That's where I got that. That's the greatest phrase ever. Things
is a
are
good
going
way
bad.
to
This
put
is a negative spiral. We need to get out of this.
But no, I'm excited for what's ahead.
So, what would you tell your 20-year-old
Oh
self?
God! Don't
Yeah.
ask that
No, I'm
stupid.
doing
It's a
that one.
stupid question.
Well, you came up with it.
No, actually, CJ Murphy came up with it, and I put it on the list. And I'm wishing I hadn't. It's the dumbest question ever.
Don't drink so much.
See? At Sturgis.
Don't let that biker tattoo his initials on your back.
Under a street light.
Let's see that tattoo. You're going to show us. This isn't on
man,
video.
Can you
show us
imagine
that
my
tattoo?
mom? She would scrub it up with steel wool.
It'd be like Sons of Anarchy.
Yes.
She'd be like knife or fire.
You pick.
It's coming off.
If your mom had pet lions, don't tell her no.
I will say, this is a platform. I mean, one thing that you wanted to get out to the world, what would you say?
Okay. Jesus Christ died for our sins. And if you feel lost in this world, please look him up.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Pretty work.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, hey.
Great time.
You
Great
bet.
time.
Yeah, 4 hours you'll never get back.
Nope.
But you can listen to it if you want.
Over and over again.
Over and over. One more trip. My God.
So, well, hopefully everybody listens to this on the way to Las Vegas, and hope everybody has a good drive. And yeah, well, like I say, we're super thankful for you spending some time with us this evening. I
Thanks
guess
for having me.
the end of a long horse show, and yeah, so
Good times.
yeah, horses look great, and we get ready
Yeah.
to go in October and knock them out.
Hey, weren't you fourth here?
And the Derby.
Yeah. Killing it.
Hey, I'm telling you, he's always a
Overnight
threat.
success.
He's always a
Overnight.
threat. Yeah.
As long as he enters.
Yeah. At least he's finally out of the limited, so he has to enter the open
I was
now.
going to say I do. No, but thanks for
Dang
having me, guys. I really enjoyed
Oh,
it.
well, where can people reach out? And how can they get a hold of Laubscher Performance Horses?
Facebook mainly. Just Google Laubscher Performance Horses. That's kind of the easiest way to do it. And you'll see us at the horse shows.
Right on. So, like I say, if there's any South Africans out there that want to, a native horse trainer, you can do that. Or somebody wants to
Perfect.
learn another language, or just have a outstanding Cowhorse trainer. Wynnewood, Oklahoma.
Any of those.
He's going to be the first South African mayor of Wynnewood.
Yes.
Maybe.
I think that could
Yeah, maybe.
Made the short list.
on the to-do list. All right, everybody. Well, until next time, go fast. Make good decisions.